All right, we back. We
All
recording.
Right. Welcome back. We got a special guest in the house.
Sir Goodwill.
From the Unapologetic podcast.
Yes. And we don't have a special effects button
I'm sure you can
budget
throw
yet.
something in there.
We just did.
Thank you all for having me. Thank
Absolutely.
you. I've been waiting on the invite for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the platforms and stuff where you can find your podcast?
Unapologetic podcast. That's UNAPOLLAGETIC podcast on all podcasts and social media platforms since 2018.
Man,
there we go.
Putting in the work.
Putting in that work.
Oh, and for the record, we were like some of the first people who watch the show because I had called in that day you had your daughter head on.
Yes. Thank you all for supporting long time. Thank you.
All right. Make sure y'all go check that out.
Absolutely. But good to have you here, sir.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Yep.
Glad to be wanted.
I always like talking to you, so and I don't be trying to start shit with you for the record.
Well,
Tony didn't get the proper pat down that we normally give our guests coming up in. He's from the West Side. Just for the record.
And I want to just show my Cubs hat. I really like this hat.
It's
go Cubs!
Crisp.
Playing the Sox tonight. Go Cubs! Go!
Here we go.
Yeah, it's a nice hat. We'll see what happens.
Watch them. They might be moving to Indiana. You never know.
Well, moving to Indiana is not too bad. They'll still be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get a better tax break. So, what y'all got, man?
All right, so we touched on the Nolan Wells situation last time. Again, we didn't have that much information, but now we have a little bit more information in regard to the Nolan Wells. But I guess there's something that's going on as far as documentations, giving over the cell phones, the 4 boys going on Officer Tatum's podcast doing an interview, which me personally I think is a bad move because you guys hired a lawyer and you're going on talk shows talking, and the internet is going to do its job and dissect everything you do. They're going to look at you. They're going to see your body movement. They are going to see how you talk, how you look at the other individuals, how you look at your friends, whether if you give them a nod or open their eye, make their eye wider, like you shouldn't have said that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like me basically right now, I know the cell phone hasn't got turned over. So I'm not sure whether if that's a good move or a bad move, because I know you can recover data from a cell phone, whether if that's been done by Nolan Wells' family or not, or whether if they turn over the phone first and then the authorities do it themselves, whether if they can or not. But right now, personally, based upon the information, I think it was a bad move to go on Officer Tatum's show because everybody's just going to dissect it. People are dissecting the photo, whether if it was photoshopped or not. Because as a person myself, I use Photoshop and I can kind of tell when something been manipulated. Photoshop, you use a lot of pixels, manipulation, shadows, lining, objects, and all the other stuff that goes into the program. You can kind of tell this photo was manipulated, whether if you change the contrast or make it invalid or invert it, the shadows behind something, whether if they crop it, and metadata. So, which a lot of people believe, a lot of people forget about metadata in photos. So, but then again, wanted to get you guys, current thoughts. I know it's a lot of misinformation out there, whether if you believe automatic guilty because you're in Mississippi and Mississippi history and how that goes. And, it's not good for a black person to be down in Mississippi surrounded by a white boy, whether if you believe that or not, but based upon, I'm gonna hit you off right now. Is your first initial thought, them white boys had to do something?
No, I don't. I try not to live life like that because if you live life like that, you will always, looking over your shoulder. It's just hard to kind of move around. But I'm not naive to the fact that racism is real. And I try to stay away from stories like this to not be over consumed. But, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some foul play, but not something that was done with malicious intent. Maybe it was some type of hazing or some type of game that just went, astray. But once somebody dead, they gone, they ain't coming back. You need to move on. But as far as justice is concerned, you mentioned Mississippi. There have been plenty of lynchings going on all around the country of late. So yeah, it's not a good look. But I think that by them hiding their hands and hiding lawyers in the beginning, just kind of admit some type of guilt.
Yeah, at the very least, some kind of suspiciousness of like, hey, we didn't just come forward once something actually, went wrong. Like you said, like it could have been something that was like, a game or something, and it just went left, or some accident happened and they just panicked and chose not to just come forward like, hey, this happened and he fell off or whatever the case, and tried to cover it up and just make it seem like, oh, we have no idea, which then turns into like a crime. It's like, if something happened, whether it was an accident or not, just come forward. But I'm like you said, like I kind of stay away from all of this stuff, and that's kind of like a running theme, with us is like, they get all the stuff in their feed in the algorithms and stuff, but I'll just be completely oblivious to it. Like I'll hear certain points of it and like, just know that there's something going on. But a lot of times like negative stuff, like I just don't even click on it. I don't pay attention to it. And my feed don't show me nothing but like animal videos, wife problems, kid problems,
science,
science stuff, and like conspiracy stuff with AI and stuff like that. It's like my feed don't really show me, negative stuff that's going on, like especially dealing with like race collisions and shit like that. Like I don't even get that stuff, and I intentionally don't click on it when I do see headlines, because I don't even want that stuff in my feed. But it does, just from what I'm like. So when they tell me stuff, it's kind of like, the first time I'm getting like in-depth information, and then I may go look at it after we finish potting. But I'm like, it seems weird, but it's definitely not. I don't think that is like this whole big, oh, they took him out there to go kill him and all this other stuff, like you're saying. It's just not a good way to live. Like every time something happened between white people and black people, it's not always race, led. I'm like you said, you don't be naive to be like, oh, there's no racism. Racism is dead. That's
a lie.
It's like, no, that's bullshit. It's absolutely racism. There's people out there that do still harbor those feelings towards us. And it's just like I've said before, look at what gets pushed out to them, especially the ones who don't interact with black people on a regular basis. All they see is shit like Sexy Red and and stuff like that, and niggas fighting on the internet and robbing shit and crashing out, and all. That's all they see, because that's all that gets pushed out, because positive black folks don't get platformed to be constantly fed into the news and into social media. So it's just like, hey, it don't make it right, but I don't truly can't really say too much when they have a perception of black folks, because it's like that's what they see. It's like, how would you know until you go and look at it and experience it yourself? Now, once you decide to start acting on it, then that's a different thing.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, it just like even now, but like, do you think some of the what do you think they should be doing as far as either on both sides from what you currently see? If you are paying attention, what do you think they should be doing, what they should not be doing? Because I see a bunch of shit online, like I said, I know you got your hands raised.
Teacher, you got to acknowledge the student before you finish the question.
I'll let you finish, but call me when you're done.
But it just, because I see a bunch of stuff. I'm like, no, like I said, I don't think they should have went on off of the Tatum show. Like, their lawyer should have been telling them, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you on this regular podcast, however many followers he has? Why are you on a YouTuber? You should be doing that with a proper person that's going to do a proper interview. Because clearly, he just been voicing his side or making you guys look like there's nothing wrong. No, you should be suspicious. Well, based upon this, based upon that, there's a discrepancy in what you guys said versus what's going on, or why did you guys hold on to the goddamn cell phone for so long? How do you guys do you guys know his password? That's just me, but go ahead, sir.
Well, you stole my answer when you said everybody should shut the fuck up. And to me, it's like really everybody should shut the fuck up. And my question is that I went to go buy a battery from AutoZone, and the chick there took about a good 15 to 20 minutes to get my battery. And the whole time she's talking about this Nolan Wells case. And my thing is, it's like, give me my battery so I can get the fuck up out of here. But she's constantly talking about it. And I was like, my thing is that we're so involved with stuff that has nothing to do with us, that it distracts us from everything else. So here it is, young lady working in her job, and she's too busy talking about something that, whether it's guilty or not, whether these white boys did something to this young black man or not, it's not going to change what you're doing here in Chicago behind the register of an AutoZone. Mm-hmm. You have no vested interest in sitting wondering what happened to a kid 1,200 miles away. So what does it have to do with it? What does any of us have to do with it? That's between the mom, that's between the dad, that's between the unfortunate loss of their son. And if anything was nefarious or anything nefarious led to that, then that's for the courts to decide. But for everybody that's an online detective sleuth that can detect eye blinking and all this other shit, it's just like, what is it going to serve you after? Well, you're going to sit and point and tell everybody, see, I told you. And what does that change? Does that bring Nolan back? It's like, no. I was like,
move on to the next topic that'll pop up next month.
Right. And you know who I figured out was pissed off about this the most? Carmelo Anthony. Because ain't nobody said shit about that dude since this popped up. And I was like, well, what happened to all the support for him? Where's, I haven't seen anything on this kid. Like, how is he doing in jail? It's like, where's all the love and all the support that people was chasing behind that? To answer your question on why white people went and got a lawyer, it's because of that. They went and they sat and they drugged those white people through the mud. I mean, through the mud after their kid got killed. Regardless of what happened or what went down, I get it. It was horrible. But to sit there and drag a person that lost a child through the mud, I would definitely have gotten a lawyer. If I was a white kid, hell yeah, I would have lawyered up. I just saw what y'all did to a dude that lost his child. So what am I going to look like if all of y'all now are accusing my son, my child, for doing something that, number one, y'all don't know or can prove? Y'all just assume because my kid is white, hanging out with a black kid that he done hung out with since the 8th grade, and all of a sudden, mysteriously, he kills him, and you did it. No proof, no jewelry, none of that. You just did it. And I was like, hell yeah, I'd have got a lawyer. I'm not about to play with you niggas. It's like, why did y'all bring Benjamin Crump down? Why did you bring Al Sharpton down? Those are bad news subjects. It's like when you invite people to come down or invite people like that to come down, they already turned it racist. I watched them. I was like, they were going to go, well, we don't know if it's racism or we don't. Then why are you talking about racism? Why is it every time they talk about the white boys that he's been friends with since the 8th grade, the first thing you bring up is race? I was like, I'm not buying it.
I mean, I think that's a product of the society we in right now. Everything has some undertone of racism in it, no matter who's against and who is, who's perpetuating the racism. So everybody's looking for it. Everybody is, I think it's another one of those pendulum swings where it's just like we had to deal with the, systemic racism and stuff for so long. And now that it's not to the degree that it was before, a lot of people want to act like it's just not there anymore. And racism is just not there. So then when, things do happen that, have that, little hint, that little seasoning of racism on it, then it's just like, no, we need to call it out in case that's what it is. So that people can realize like, hey, shit like this is still going on. This is still an issue that needs to be tackled. Now, how far you want to go with it is a different thing. And it's just like, hey, we imperfect creatures and people get emotional about shit. People get invested in shit that don't really have too much to do with you directly. And I feel like that's human nature at this point. And it's all about going back to what I was saying a long time ago. It's just like, we all in this tribalistic, mindset. It's just like, everything is us versus them.
And see, that's what confuses me, because if you don't know white people and I just so happen to know quite a few of them. I was like, I'm curious about that. It's like, so how do you define racism? What would racism be to you?
Racism would be that I think I am superior over another race. I don't believe it has anything to do with, whether you're attacking someone. It's how I think, how I view you. When you walk down the street, I take pride in the destruction of your race. I think I'm better than you are. You are a trash man. You are a janitor. That is what you're good for. I am a lawyer. I am a doctor. I wholeheartedly think that I am 100% superior above. I'm on the throne. You're just in a swamp somewhere. That's what I think. But
yeah, that's the literal definition, to believe that your race is superior to another one.
Well, everybody is racist. Japan thinks that they're superior. Yeah. China thinks that Russia.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're all racist. So
we have the caveat to that is in America because I'm sure it's the same way all over the world, but we in America, and that's the only thing I personally care about. But it's like in America, racism is ingrained into our founding and our down to the Constitution. It's just it's in there, and it's just we need to ensure that it's no longer in there. And then how do you do that? Because it's you got to go in there and start changing laws. And it's at that point, you got to depend on the politician to actually do what they say they're going to do. And we all know how that goes. But it's just as far as racism goes, in America, at the very least, it's a part. It's part and parcel. And it's it also comes with a power structure as well. It's just it really don't matter if Japan thinks they better than, America because they Japanese. They can't do shit about it. In America, if a white person, the average white person feels they are better than a different race, and they are more than likely going to be in some type of position of power to do something about that.
Okay, so when you say white people, exactly what exact kind of white people are you talking about? You say when you say white people, you the white people. So what kind of white people are you talking about? And I'll explain why.
When I'm saying white people, I'm just saying the average white person who is I don't know how else to explain it. Anglo-Saxon, European, that's what you would caucus.
Yeah, but you got it.
I feel and piggybacking off what you said, that America is a melting pot of all the races, ethnicities, and religions over the world. But here, white people, whoever they are they are the founding fathers. They are the only races in this country. They've had the power for centuries. I don't believe I could be racist. I don't believe you all could be, black people can be racist. I don't think that Hispanics can be racist because we don't have any power. I think that racism is all about power, and we can bitch and moan about anything and everything. And at the end of the day, if we talk about Nolan Wells, I think that's his name, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, how many Nolan Wells stories have we had, over the years?
Heard about,
and the ones that don't get covered. So as far as racism, I think that only in America, which you pointed out, in America, only white people can be racist, the ones with power. And I think that all of them are racist. And I have plenty of white friends and Hispanic friends, people who will go to bat for me. But I think that they all are racist because they would never trade places with us, ever. They have worked very hard to keep the power. And when you put somebody like Trump in office, he's here to, say, hey, this is how it was. This is how it should be. And this is rightfully ours. We don't want you. We don't want you all to make us feel bad for what we did in the past. So
they're not even saying what they did. It's saying what they did in the past. It's not like I did it. I didn't do it. I wasn't alive back then.
Right.
But just a counter is like I said earlier, the definition of racism is just to believe that your race is superior to another race, or even in all races. In the definition, I do not believe that they reference power or ability to affect those other races. Now, I think there is a classification for that, which I think should be distinguished when when we are talking about issues like this, because shit, honestly, I'm like, I think anybody can be racist, because it's just like, hey, if you you feel like, hey, I'm better, I'm cooler. We get to the stereotypes is like black folks are cool. Like we just have this inherent coolness about us. You say, hey, I'm black, I'm cooler, and like we cooler than everybody else. That's a form of racism. It may not be as extreme as hating a person or wanting to keep them back. But it's like, that's what, if you want to be, play the semantics game. It's just like, and a lot of people do, and they take advantage of that when you say that. And then like, that's how they prove, that your argument is invalid when you're talking about logic. Because it's like, hey, if you're going to make this argument and you want to use a certain word, let's make sure that word is actually being used correctly. Now, like I said, I feel like there is, or at the very least, there should be a word or phrase that describes having the thought and feelings that your race is superior to others, along with the ability to hold them back and or propel your own race. I feel like there should be some kind of distinction between the two.
Why I asked earlier in terms of like, what do you define as a white person? Because I've been doing it for a minute, but I always ask everybody what their nationality is. So what you would pass off as a white person may have some type of German heritage, may have Polish, may have Russian. There's a whole different slew of people that I've met that you would consider white just by looking at them, but they don't even identify as white because they have a part of their history or heritage that doesn't connect to the United States. Their grandparents was born in a different country, and they claim more of what their grandparents based off of how, their values were before they base it off of the United States. So in a sense, this is just in a sense, you see a white person, you automatic, this white motherfucker, here he comes. It's like, well, that's what racism is, because you're judging before you actually know.
That's prejudice.
It's prejudice?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Different.
Well, that's prejudice.
But they still white.
It's still bad though, but
He said they
still white. I don't give a damn what country you're from. You be from Ukraine, you from Germany, you from England. When you over here, you're white.
Yeah, and that's a uniquely American thing as well. It's like
it is.
Like when you go to other countries, like, it matters where you're from. It's like when we go to England or something, they see two white people. I mean, they see a white person and a black person standing next to each other. They say, oh, look at those Americans. Yep, they don't say, oh, look at the black kid, look at the white kid. They say, look at those Americans. So America is really the only place that blurs that line between, nationality, heritage.
What makes you think that?
Well,
that's just what we do.
I mean,
I'm talking about over there. You say if they just see a black person and a white person, and they say that we're just both Americans.
So speaking from conversations with people that have traveled and been over to different countries and stuff, and one of my guys that I work with, he's saying he ain't got no kids, so he work in a restaurant, so he got a little extra money. So he be gone. He go to Tokyo. I think he's been to Japan once. I think he's been to Dominican Republic a bunch of times. He's been to England and Jamaica. I think he went to Africa too. And he was like, everywhere he went, it was that was what they referred to him as American. They like he's an American person.
But do you think because of what you just said, when an American go to another country outside of the U.S., we refer to American, do you think it's because that, I don't want to say that blanket hasn't happened to those countries? Because you come here, we don't do that. Oh, you Ukrainian. We don't talk like that. We just say, you white.
You white.
You white. Like we don't like. Do you think that is something that the United States have created within itself?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because we've done that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
they mastered that.
Yeah,
because America thinks they better than everybody else as it is. So it's just like
when you say
we don't care about other countries.
When you say supremacy, like, do you think not just the word itself, but like what it is? Do you think that like all race practice that in a certain way? Because can you say, hey, well, you know, black people have a form of it, but we do it in our own way. You know, you can't have braided hair, like that's our culture, or you know, this is only a black thing. Do you think that is a form of supremacy projected from black people or Hispanics or Asian? Everybody has their own
they
form
do
of
it everywhere. You look at in Mexico, the light-skinned Mexicans get treated way better than the darker Mexicans. You go to India, they got that. Well, they don't legally have their caste system anymore, but it's just like traditionally, you know, you would be, you know, you could have a darker person that's, you know, higher up, but it's like for the most part, it's like the dark people that live in the southern part of India, it's like they are the ones that's living in the squalor and you know, and all the shit that you see of the flies and motherfuckers making food and got their feet and shit and sandals all in the damn in the sauce, and they just dumping shit. That's in the southern India. It's like if you look at stuff that's happening in northern India, where the skin tone, just because the way of geography works, the skin tone is lighter in the north. They ain't living like that.
Yeah, especially
same thing in South Africa. It's like the light skinned black people, light skinned all Africans, they get treated a little bit better than the darker skinned Africans.
I actually
everywhere you go, it's actually that kind of shit.
Just watched a video of a guy that moved from the United States to Africa, and that was one of the things that he was talking about in terms of they still have colorism there. And if they see like a black person from the United States, it's like they still go run to the white man first before there's even things. So it's like, so what is that?
Being black and American is like a sin, you know.
You speaking as far as being in other countries?
Here too. Oh, okay. I mean, you know, but being in other countries, other countries, they see Americans as bullies. They don't like it. They don't like us. You know, and you are right. But to be black and American, you know, now in some instances, let's say you know, you're tall, you're lighter complexion. They probably think you basketball player, football. You know, you know, the women, you know, if me and you walking down the street, they ain't looking at me, they looking at your tall ass.
I feel, Tony. Imagine how I feel.
And you think, well, you well, you know, you bald, so you know they like maybe a black bald man.
You light skinned compared to me, so I can only imagine with that.
Yeah. So
shit. No.
And then but that also it comes. Because that's a thing where people of other races tend to look at lighter skinned black people as more desirable, attractive, or whatever. It's like then it backfires when you become when you go back into your own community. Because then you get talked to about a dark skin law. This light skinned nigga. Doing the light skinned shit. That's light skinned shit. So it's like we
just like New Jack City.
It's like we deal with that shit all the time.
So, but then you go overseas, and I'm not a world traveler. I've only been into the Latin America countries. But you know, when they know you American, they think you got money. So you know, you black, they don't like blacks, they don't like Americans, but they'll take your money. You know, they think that I'm Shaq over there. I got a whole bunch of money. So, you know, I guess it's a double-edged sword.
Especially like you said, in the Latin American countries where the peso isn't as it isn't as strong as American dollar. So you can go down there with $100 and you be straight for for a few days.
A nickel.
Right.
But
so I got a king bedroom suite with the bar full of stocks.
But yeah,
for
like you
45
said,
cents.
It's definitely a thing that we get looked at as far as being Americans, and on top of that being black. But it's just like I said earlier, it's like look at what they see. Like we'll look at what our representation is. So it's like how can you really expect them to look at us too much differently? It's like we don't platform the black folks that got sense and the Americans that got sense. Everything is just fucking is confrontation, is nonsense, and is ignorance and nonstop.
Well, that's what the media has always portrayed in my 40 years. But we all know that is not always the case, regardless if you got some knucklehead kids taking over downtown or you got, some gang violence in the hundreds. That doesn't represent black people as a whole at all. But if the media wants to portray it like that, there's nothing that we can do. Living in Chicago, when I go to other places, and of course I'm going to rep my Cubs, I'm going to rep the Bears. When they think Chicago, they think danger. They think bad. They think violence. But before we move on, I want to say that me having 3 black teenagers, and I made some mistakes as a parent. They grew up in the hood, and they went to hood schools, and now they have hood personalities. And when they were young, I always said I didn't want them to, talk white or sound white. I wanted them to be able to identify with us. And, prayerfully, I hope that decision does not have a bad outcome, especially in these young years where they're trying to, find themselves. But, having them not be around white people definitely set them back academically and with access. So my point is that with Mr. Wells, at years ago, I would have had a problem with my son being the only black boy in a group of white boys. But we also know that how resourceful that could be to be in an area like a mostly white school or a mostly white university. So, it is, it's tough. It's tough. I wouldn't feel safe. Well, no, that's not true, because I've been in that situation, traveling back roads with white people, and I'm still here today. But it's tough. It's tough. And being in Mississippi, Mississippi is white. When you think of black people coming from Mississippi, you shouldn't be thinking, oh yeah, black people just grew up in Mississippi. You need to be thinking about slavery. That's why they're down there like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I would raise my children differently, knowing what I know today in my 40s versus having kids in my early 20s.
Yeah. Hindsight is always 20/20. You don't know what you don't know until you find out.
So I would say it like this. My first introduction full on to continuously being surrounded by white people was in 8th grade. And I went to a Catholic school. I was the only black boy in the 8th grade class when I got there. Wasn't the sharpest one or anything like that, but I made relationships with those kids that never brought up the fact that I was different, because all of them were different. Mm-hmm. They were Jewish, they were Polish, they were Mexicans. It was all type of array. The majority of them were white. But it's like, as far as friendship is, when you get kids amongst each other, it's like the first thing that you want to go play a video game. Mm-hmm. Racism out the door. I don't care who you are. It's like when you at that age and you experience in life, it's like none of that matters. It's what you're taught later on to start believing that those people you hang out with are bad. I'm like, fuck what you talking about. I was like, dude, Matthew Brightfielder, and if you ever hear this, dude, thank you very much, was one of the cats in my class. Sister Margaret.
And where was this again?
This is here in Chicago. Okay. Yeah, Mount Carmel on Belmont and Hosted. It's like, and she was not about to let me pass. And she told me flat out, she told my sister flat out, hey, your brother sucks at math. This nigga is like illiterate. We are not going to let him pass. All that money you just spent to put him up in the school, this shit failed. Mm. Why is it Matthew Brightfield the only dude that came out? Because he was a genius in math. Said, hey, you know what, Sister Margaret, can I work with him? Can you give us some time? Maybe I'll be able to talk to him. And me and this dude hung out at the school all the time. Matthew came with the books, no joking, no nothing. I passed with a C, but I passed. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because I got help from any of the black kids, because I was the only one there. But this dude took it out of his time knowing that I'm having a problem, and now he's going to help me get out of 8th grade.
So I want to say that you all lived on the north side at one point. So I went to Manier School, which was on Black Hawk and Hudson from kindergarten to 6th grade. Then I transferred to LaSalle for 7th and 8th grade. And I did not know I was black until I got to LaSalle. Being in the hood projects with all of us, we all look the same. Every now and then we had a Latin person be bussed in. But going to LaSalle was when I looked around. I'm like, okay, everybody don't look like me. I got made fun of for my lips, for my nose, for saying jewels,
Jewel.
right. My basketball coach, and we still talk to this day. He said, "Hey, Goodwin, come over here." I said, where do you go shopping at? You go to Walgreens, Dominic's, and I was like, "Oh, Jules," and everybody started busting up, because I put the S on Jules. And I've never said it. I've never put the S on Jules since. But contrary to you, I still have some lifelong friends who are of other ethnicities, but I did. That was, it wasn't like blatant racism, but it was racist.
Yeah. Well, it was being made fun of or being picked on. Yeah. And like I said, I grew up in Georgia. I was like, to me, that was racism. I know I bring it up all the time. Courtney, shut the fuck. But it's like, that's a different.
What part of Georgia?
Louisville, Georgia, right outside of Jefferson County. Now you can find it on the map. Before you couldn't. That's how small of a town it was. But like I said, dude, we got stories. Like I watched my brother get chased by the sheriff. He's on a bicycle and the sheriff was fucking with him, but he's like riding his back tire. And my brother had to do a Dukes of Hazzard through the ditch to land up. It was like, yeah, that was racism. We got called nigga in the classroom. Raise my hand to tell the teacher, hey, Rodney, because that dude got stomped out. That's a different dude. But this dude just called me a nigga. And she hey, turn to page 16. We got work to do.
Oh, wow.
It was, yeah. So to me, it's like, oh, nigga, that's racism. Somebody calling me a name behind my back is name calling. And I'm welcome at any time. If you want to start roasting, please have a seat. Let's not, make it in passing. Don't say something and run off. Have a seat so I can cook you. I was like, because if nigga is the best word that you got to sit here and think that that's going to affect me, you are so mistaken. I was like, I call myself a nigga, so it's like you doing it ain't nothing. Yeah. It's like you just an echo at that point.
We've turned it into a term of endearment now.
Well, I think that was a dangerous thing, right? And I saw an interview with Morgan Freeman, and he said probably the most honest thing I've heard anybody say when it comes to racism.
The great Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, he said, stop talking about it. That shit is like climate change right now. How often do you hear that shit come up? That ain't even on the top 10 anymore because people stop talking about it. So I'm like, yeah, just stop talking about it. People don't like you, that's fine. It's like, if you can't get along with people, that's fine. Everything don't have to be about racism. And I take in defense of that because, like I said, I know some great white people. And I would move in next door to them, no problem, quicker than some of the niggas that I know.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah. That is. You ain't lying about that.
And that's no knock on black people.
It's not.
I think that we have to be careful with that because that can come off, like we don't like our own kind. And I'm sorry. It's no knock on black
and I'm
people.
sorry. And I'm glad you said that because, like you said, you watched the show, and I'm pretty sure everybody hearing my voice would probably think the same thing. But you're absolutely correct, and I want to stand corrected. Is that I don't have a problem with black people. I love black people, and there is no other color that I want to be than what I am now because I know what it got me. But I'm just saying, it's like, I identify with that. It's the nigger aspect of it, which I have a problem with, is because black people don't want to correct that angle of it. We don't correct the black shit that happens in the hood with the little kids growing up being buck wild now. Back in the day, you could easily get your ass whooped by your neighbor, the principal, the teacher, the bus driver. It didn't matter. If you got out of line, somebody was putting you back in line. We can't do that today in fear of getting shot, in fear of getting stabbed, in fear of somebody burning your house down, in fear of looking over your shoulder, all trying to raise and fix the village that we're supposed to be teaching right now. So when I go off on a tangent about niggas and all this has nothing to do with the successful black people that got their heads on straight and those that are giving back. Because there's a lot of those, like we were talking about once before, that don't get the recognition of actually trying to provide. As much as I hate LeBron James, I was like, I think he a crybaby ass for a basketball player, but go check out what that dude did in the hood. Yeah, that dude put in work, and there's no denying that. So I'm not about to call him a nigga. I'm not about to call anybody else that didn't put some type of effort, whether it's money, energy, whatever. Those people do not apply. It's you motherfuckers that's out in the street fucking shit up knowing that you're doing it. Yeah. And you have no intentions on changing and can't nobody tell you shit. Those are the niggas I'm talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to make that distinction, but it's crazy that we do. Especially when you do go on your tangents and it's like we just sitting there nodding. It's like we know that you refer it to the niggas. But it's just like, for people listening, it's like first thing they say is like, oh, you hate your mother, you hate your sister, you hate all the black people in your family.
No, I really don't like some of them motherfuckers now that you've been
no, that's not the topic we're talking about. But it's just next topic. Like, yo, it's crazy we have to make that distinction because and I will say I feel like it's a part of black people as well, not just niggas. It's just like we take offense to everything. To so much. It's like almost everything is disrespect as soon as you feel a little pushback or challenge or anything. Then it's like if it's something that you disagree with, it's automatic. Like, the person is wrong as opposed to you disagree with them. And it's just like, okay, did you take a second to try to understand where this person is coming from? Because like y'all two had perfect contrasting examples. It may not have been as extreme as I guess somebody else could have came up with. Like, nah, hell dog, you get talked about, shit, fuck that. They shoved me in my locker and called me nigga and tattooed it, wrote it on my face. It could have been a whole lot of worse shit. But it's like everybody's perspective is crafted by their experiences. So it's just like, hey, I be saying to G a lot. It's just like he has this experience of a high
What's
level.
His name? What's
G.
G. Okay.
I just say, hey, you have this experience of high level racism.
No.
No, I'm
trying to figure out how to refer to it.
Right, I don't know. Right,
I'm sorry, please.
But it's like he has this experience of a high level of racism. So then a lot of times I'll be like, we be talking about something, somebody say something about, oh, this was racist. He was like, nigga, that ain't racist. I went through this. Like, yeah, but your experience doesn't change their experience. That's true. And it's just like everybody's experience is different. But we do need to make that distinction from, hey, look, the shit we talking about and complaining about, this is referred to motherfuckers that just are not contributing to anything positive in either their life, their parents' life, their sister's life, the community's life, or anything.
Also, because of this microphone that anyone can now put in front of them,
right?
We have to make the distinction because there are black folk that go behind a mic and destroy black people.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's why, we should be able to talk about ourselves and some of the things that go on in our community that are not all good, but we're still black at the end of the day. There are black people who really just go behind a mic and tear black folk down as if they are not black, so
because they get a check for it.
Yeah, but all money is not good money. And so that's why we also have to be like, hey, I love my people. I'm gonna be in the Bud Billiken parade, but y'all need to have y'all kids together, not out there acting a damn fool at the Bud Billiken parade too. Yeah.
And
they was acting a goddamn fool.
Yeah, they were.
Oh man,
at the Bud Billiken parade,
they was acting a goddamn fool.
Yeah. I was out there watching them.
Oh man, I'm not expecting the Bud Billiken parade to get any better, but it seems like you got those online group chats that goes around and be like, man, we're gonna meet up on this corner, like this what we doing. It's like they setting up a to do stupid stuff there that doesn't make any sense. Like, this is back to school. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you got parents that have their kids that come out there that want to see their celebrity on a float or their favorite alderman or whatever. And y'all trying to fuck that up. Like, don't fuck that up. Like,
and these are preteens.
Yeah,
teens.
Like, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't see the outcome, nor did I see the parade.
I stopped after a while because it was just like, what's the point? It's like every time you go, it's something happens. Somebody getting a fight, somebody, some shooting happening, or it's always something. So at this point, I have a negative connotation when I hear, Bud Billiken parade. It's just like, I ain't.
Yeah,
I'm make sure I stay away. It's unfortunate, and I don't like that. I feel that I appreciate the actual purpose behind it.
Yeah,
but it's just like I know that going there, I'm putting myself in a potentially unfortunate situation.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
and I'm not,
it's sad that you have to.
Position.
Yeah, and then you go there, then you bring your kids or your sons and your daughters or whatever. Then you be like, well, we got about 3 R. Kellys over there sitting on a bench.
That's not cool. Yeah, that shit.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, me either. I was like, no matter how correct you may be, it's like, damn, I really ain't going to the Bud Billiken parade. They're like,
don't act like it don't happen. They be there.
No, and that's the sad part. It do happen, and you are correct in having to worry about that because that's the type of creep shit we got out on the streets.
Check the damn computer. What was that movie? Forget one of the Seth Rogen movies where they said, hey, look, I went on the website to look at the child predator list. Just like my fucking computer has the chickenpox. It's just dots everywhere. The whole neighborhood.
Oh, damn.
It's just like
that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
So like that's unfortunate. That's what it is.
But I want to touch on what you just said in terms of my people. So when you say my people, are you? I'm not trying to sound like Tropic Thunder. What you talking about with your people? But like, what does that encompass? Really, it's like when you say black people. So you just go hang out with black people just because they're black like you?
No, I don't. I said my people. Remind me of what I said.
Yeah,
what did I say?
That you said that. Damn it! Nah. Something to the effect of my people. It's like
I think he's alluding to like our people, black people, just like as a community or
right. I guess I'm asking. It's like, do you claim that? Do you claim your people as being the black people? Does that sound?
My people are black people. Yeah,
right.
I'm black.
So do you like claim the community when you say that? And the reason I'm asking is because I have people that would be like, "Oh, I'm sticking with my people," and I'm like, so what does that mean when you say you sticking with your people? Not you, but I'm just saying in general. When people say I'm sticking with my people, and I'm like, so what? Just black people? There? I know somebody say, "Oh, when I move, my next house is going to be in a black neighborhood." I was like, okay, so what's wrong with any other neighborhood? Are you just specifically going to a black neighborhood because there are other black people there? Or?
I think it's a comfortability thing. You probably feel more comfortable around people that look like you.
You looking like a nice guy but me, no, I am not hanging around anybody to look like myself. I'm sorry. Because I know I got shiesty tendencies, and I'd be like, nah, that nigga looks shiesty. Yeah.
See, I think that's,
I'm not moving around that nigga.
But there's the immediate assumption that a black neighborhood is automatically a bad neighborhood.
Right.
Which is not
necessarily
the case.
You can be going to Beverly. Beverly is very nice and very black.
And I'm like, I could see the value in saying, hey, I'm doing well for myself. I can move anywhere I really want to within reason. Let me find a well-to-do black neighborhood so that I could make sure that I'm still out of the hood, but around people that look like me, have similar experiences to me, and I can relate to, depending on your mindset and mentality. And I see a value in that. And then like, we still got to get rid of that automatic assumption that just because it's a black neighborhood that it's a bad neighborhood, because it's not always true.
Yeah, because what if you move into a white neighborhood and the people don't want you there?
Oh, that's every white neighborhood. But yeah, there's.
Where you gonna go? What you doing?
So I mean, you go most of the time, and it's a bad. Like when I made reference to Chicago earlier. They say, "Oh, you from Chicago?" They think that you are a gangbanger or some type of nigger of some sort. You can move into a quote unquote bad area, and if you don't partake, they probably not gonna bother you. You can go into an area, and as long as you ain't going over there selling drugs or trying to take somebody's woman, you're probably going to survive just fine. In in a black neighbor, as a black person going into a black neighborhood. You know, people go look for trouble, you know, so O Block is, you know, popular these days. You know, okay, you done heard the stories and a lot of them are true. Don't go to O Block. You know,
they lock that shit up. You can't go in there.
I don't even like to drive down King Drive. So, you know, if you don't go looking for trouble and bother nobody, no matter what black neighborhood you go to, just look at it like this. They put thousands of Venezuelans in black neighborhoods, and you don't hear about Venezuelans hanging from a tree. The Venezuelans have been thriving. They done bought property. They have cars. They get food thanks to the government. They have been well taken care of. You can't go, to certain white areas and be welcome like that. I think that black people are too welcoming and too passive.
Everybody invited to the cookout.
Right.
You know, they do something cool, they bust a cool dance move. All of a
I
sudden,
got several family members that live in white areas, and you've been with me, it's like, shit, everybody knows me. Mm-hmm. I'll put it to you like that. And as far as like them watching, helping my brother had an accident, fell off his ladder. It's like these people brought him food, all types of stuff. The next door neighbor came by like every day to check on. I was like, so it depends on where you are. But I was like, I wouldn't discount any neighborhood for another if there's good people in it. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what my main focus is on, is that anybody can be a racist. Anybody can have hatred in their heart if they're just a rotten ass motherfucker. Yeah. There's nothing that you can change about that. You can't change their attitude. You can't convince them to treat anybody other differently. But it doesn't boil down to the skin tone. I know a lot of rotten black people. I know a lot of rotten white people. Yeah. I know a lot of rotten Mexicans. Yeah. And so the span is on. My thing is that as humans, which I know we won't get past, is the fact that there has to be some different. And it always made me think of that Dr. Seuss one dot, blue dot, what is it? One dot.
One fish, two fish.
There was the one where they had the polka dots on them, but one group had one polka dot on them and they looked at each other like, y'all ain't shit. The other ones had two polka dots. And it's like, the book was probably about racism, but it defines like how nobody is ever going to be satisfied or happy.
It's tribalism. Like I always say, it's all tribalism. Yeah. Everybody wants to be a part of a group, and my group is better than your group.
But our downfall is the fact that we just keep promoting hate on the end instead of promoting love on it. Yeah. It's like we don't go up to you, be dogged out if you went and told a white person that you love them. If I know this white person and I'm cool with them and I got some history and I know their background, which a lot of times I just avoid all in general. But if I know that this person, and I got Gail and Jeff Ferguson, if you out there and y'all heard this, I love those people. Mm-hmm. I love them. I just put some years in with those people. So they're cool. And I can go and tell them like, hey, you know what, Jeff, I love you. Gail, I love you.
White folks.
These are white folks.
Well, Gary, I challenge you because you say these great things about these white folks and in the white communities and how helpful they have been. But you said you wouldn't want to go into a black area that people look like you. You'd be scared, unless you were just playing.
Yeah, that was the comedy part.
Yeah, I told you. You have to figure that out.
And he was like showing me the pistol.
I gotta call it out. I'm like,
look. When he walked in, he showed me the pistol hand. I heard you was controversial.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's
like that line between his joking and serious is like real thin.
I'm a real black or white type person. I don't be reading between no lines.
And again, to clarify, it's like, no, that's not how I feel. I'll go to he'll tell you, I'll go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. And I'll go to all Hispanic neighborhood. Mm-hmm. If somebody there talking English, I'm going to know them by the time the day is over. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's infuriating when you're trying to go to the store with this man. You just strike up a conversation with the cashier, be in there extra 20 minutes. Talk to everybody.
Because to me, it's like, I'm not seeing that. I'm able to read people. Like, no sooner I talk to them, within that first 5 minutes, I pretty much got a good feel of if we can crack jokes. And it's not like I'm looking for any type of long-term relationship. I'm not trying to look to borrow any money from these people. I was like, when people talk about white folks, I was like, the majority of my interactions are good because that's how I set them up. Not about to go ask this dude for a home loan that I just met because he's a white dude. No, I want our interactions to be peaceful while we standing there. And if they leave that way, then I done had a good day. You done had a good day. Yeah. I'm not trying to sit like, here this white motherfucker come. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. What are you about? What's your name? What music you like? What type of food you like? No different than I would ask anybody else if I'm just trying to share that energy. And and to me, that's it. You could be green polka dotted. I don't care.
Yeah, we're all human. You said exactly. That. We're all human.
We're human and first.
You have to try to look past skin color, but you also have to, stay woke as well.
I think you have a great advantage when it comes to that because you are such a personable human being and conversational. So when people, since we just talking about when a white person happens to see you, whatever their connotation or whatever their immediate thoughts towards black people are dispelled within like 2 seconds of actually talking to you, because when you do talk, you got a smile on your face, you talking and you actually engaging with people. But most people aren't like that, especially me. It's like, I'm a tall black dude. I walk through, like, I got like a completely blank, nonchalant face.
It's really not a friendly
like,
face.
White people walk past me and kind of like scoot over to the side a little bit.
Since you got all that hair on your chin, now it's like your face is.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not, that type of person. Or when somebody does say something to me, I'm like, I answer the question and, respond, politely or whatever, but then I keep it moving, as opposed to like how you answer the question, then you would pose a question back to them and then you would engage. So it's like when they get that version, then, whatever their stereotypes and their prejudice and their thoughts about black people are, is like that kind of goes out the window, because now he's one of the good ones. Now, that doesn't mean that the next black person if I come behind you and we not necessarily, together, that doesn't necessarily mean they will still interact with me the same way that they interact with you. Because
So it's on a person-to-person basis then?
For the most part, but it's just like it would still be that, that immediate assumption of, like I said, what they see, what they get fed when it comes to black people, and what they, their assumption is going to be, until it gets changed by the actual interaction.
Well, just a quick, honest question. I mean, don't you think that that's the same thing that we're being given? I mean, just take this Nolan Wills case, for example. I mean, aren't we being fed that all white people are dangerous and that we shouldn't be around them?
Because absolutely not.
Well, I'm sorry, maybe you don't, but in a based off of what you heard, if you've been following the case and the reactions that people have, you don't think that tells black people that don't hang around white? Because I've heard that said.
And as much as I avoid it, like I said, I have seen that a lot of times. It's like a lot of people that I see, black people that are covering it, it's like that's one of their main talking points. It's like, why is this black kid the only black person in the room with a bunch of white people?
Yeah, we felt like that before this.
But it's like, obviously it's, in the news, is getting ramped up and it's getting pushed out. So it's like, it does give that, to his point, it's like, it does push off that, well, we shouldn't be hanging out with them anyway. This is what happens when you hang out with white people.
Do you think it's because of whenever there's election time, they always gravitate toward a story to keep the racial tension out there moving and pushing and going forward? Because oftentimes when, as you say, like people dying in my city all day, every day, every goddamn week at the shooting, every holiday weekend at the shooting. Why does this case get all this cover stories by all these other individuals? Then you got these, these lawyers, these what are they called? You got these lawyers, these civil rights attorneys, and they're pushing out a certain message. But we all know election time is right around the corner. Like we want to keep you in a certain mindset, so we know that you're going to have this racist stigma, or everything's racist, or white person versus black person. Now we got you. We're going to make sure we get all these people to vote against Trump. Yeah. Because that's our real motive, to keep that. How long is the Nolan Wells case is going to go on? Do you think it's going to go on past election time? When that happened, and whatever the result or the midterms are, is the Nolan Wells case just going to go away and we on to the next thing?
Absolutely.
I would say yes. I would agree with that. That after it's all said and done, it's going to go away, just like Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah,
it's like he's gone. It's like I looked for him and couldn't find shit on him. It was like, damn. So what happened to little dude? Not to say that, he was in the right, but it's still like y'all focused all this attention on this kid when he was the it bomb to be on the internet and everything. But the second Nolan Wells popped up, this chip got tossed. It's like you don't even hear a dude anymore. Like, what's his status?
It's always going to be like that. And I don't think it has anything. I don't think it's solely politically motivated. I think it's just of the divisive, society that we in. Everybody is tribalistic. Everybody wants to have, feel connected to somebody else and who they agree with at least. And everybody wants to, gang up on, X group or Y group or, whatever the case. And I think it's all out of, to be honest with you, I think it's all out of just a control to keep us as a country divided and not, looking at the real shit that's going on. The motherfuckers, billionaires that's moving chips behind the board and shit, passing people red chips and black chips and stuff, and we still looking at the white chips. It's like, nigga, it's more important shit to be focused on, but we so busy about these, thinking about the Nolan Wells case and racial issues and was it gender identity shit and
WNBA?
They bringing that shit back up again, which we can get into. We can lead into that, but it's just like we so busy focusing on all of this shit that really don't matter. And the motherfuckers, in the suits and in the boardrooms and stuff, they making the big moves. Trump made billions of damn dollars off of Bitcoin since.
And he's gonna make billions more.
I made a little money. I made a little money.
Yeah, just like, dude, you in office, you just made billions of dollars off of this, and nobody's talking about it. It's like, that's not odd at all. Because motherfuckers is worried about who killed this young black man in Mississippi.
It's not only that; it's because Trump ain't the first one that did it.
That's not my point. I'm not.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Defending Trump again.
Yeah, I was
that's
just
not the
saying.
point. Trump is the person that's in office.
You could have said presidents do this and X, Y, Z, but you singled out Trump, and
because he's in office. If Biden was the one in office, then I would have said Biden.
Right,
if we want to talk about Nancy Pelosi, we can do that too.
You made your point. I'm sorry.
Happened to be Trump, the one that's in office.
I get it.
All right. Well, I'm not sure. I got whether the WNBA can wait a little bit, but I got the next topic. Unless you guys got something, no.
I'm rolling with you.
Okay, so wanted to go into the next topic. It's gonna be a little bit of a rant, not really, but then just like hear me out because I often hear. I want to talk about the statement of put it in God's hands. I often hear this statement from when I'm typically going through something. And I'm having a hard time and I'm going through trials and tribulations and I'm voicing my concern to a person that's willing to listen. And, they tell me just put it in God's hands. And a lot of time I question that. Because whenever I'm going through, some of the stuff that I'm going through, I have noticed family members and friends that have, fucked people over, consistently make bad choices, bad decision, but it seemed like they are the one that's prospering in life. They're the one that's doing well. But it seems like every day, I'm being tested every day out the week just to prove, my worth to whatever religion that I'm practicing. But it seems like the people that do evil and fucked up shit in the world are getting rewarded. And a lot of the time, some people will tell me, well, God going to give those people justice. Like, it's coming. And sometimes I'll be like when? When is it going to happen? Because, some of these people that are doing fucked up shit in the world, whether if you're political, a friend or family, like they are doing so much well in the world. But, I wanted to see if you guys had any, topic or response to when someone tells you just put it in God's hand and you're actually going through something. Like you just got fired last week. Your rent is due in 2 days. You don't know how you're going to pay your rent, your light bill, your gas bill, getting your kids to school, or you going through a separation or any of that stuff. Like, do you think religious will actually, or at least believing that someone tells you to put it in God's hand, will it actually make your day better or actually help you get through that day?
Yeah, we get it.
Go ahead, G.
Hmm?
Go ahead,
No.
G. Go ahead, G.
No, I don't want to take this one.
No. Oh, no.
We
gotta let him go last.
I know.
I gotta let him go last, and then you respond.
Yeah.
He'll go.
Yeah, I'm not after you, sir.
No, ain't no after me.
Oh, okay.
Well, I
Ain't
mean,
no
I'll
after-
respond. It'll be
go ahead.
similar to what I said last week. It's just like, I don't think that there is I think it's like a coping thing when it's like when people finally realize that, hey, I'm kind of out of control of the world, the universe. Is like, I really don't, things happen and it's like really nothing that we can do about it. And we don't have an explanation for it. So we feel the need to, as human beings, find a reason for things. Which is why science is this. It's like, hey, why does this do this? Why, when I do this, this happens? And once you boil down to the lowest level of understanding, the highest level of understanding that you can get, there's still a question mark there because you can't know everything. So a lot of people place God in that, in that part of, the God of the gaps is a lot of people call it. It's like when you go down and you keep asking why and why and why, like a 2-year-old just says, why is this? Why? And then you finally don't have any more, just like, oh, because that's what God wanted it to be, as opposed to having an actual answer. So when people say things like, put it in God's hands, I'm like, people say it to me. I usually don't respond just because I'm, it's a touchy topic. There's a lady at my job, and she says every single day I've seen this lady when I'm checking out and putting my stuff away and getting ready to clock out. She say, have a good day and don't forget to pray. I'm like, I know I'm, not a religious person. I'm not going to pray, but I have no interest in telling this lady, hey, can you stop saying that to me? Because I'm not going to go pray. She says it to every single person, that she, comes in contact with. And I know just, from her, how she's saying it, it's like, it's coming out of,
a good spot.
Yeah, it's coming from a place of good, good. But it's just like, on a logical standpoint, it's like, to do what? It's like pray. And then what happens after that? But when people say, just put it in God's hands or give it to God or let God figure it out, it's like, I think it's a coping mechanism when they don't have an actual answer to give you because they don't know the answer and they can't, if they was in that position, they would be wondering why too. So then that's all they can do is just say, hey, leave it to God. But I don't think that that's a good response because from what I know of, the Bible being brought up in it is like God doesn't, if you believe in this, it's like God is not going to just be handing out blessings. It's like you got to do some work and then, he'll help you along the way if that's what you believe. So
actually, if you dig a little deeper into that book, you'll find out that that's not his job at all.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's not the part, from what I've learned over the years is like that's not ever what was actually, the thing. It's like it was never just to just sit there, do nothing and just wait for God to fix everything. It's like that's not the way that's not even the way that the religion is supposed to be, taught and worked. But again, when you don't have any answers for shit, it's just like, hey, that's the only thing I can say. Leave it up to God.
Yeah, because oftentimes when people read the Bible or whatever religion that they're practicing, the Quran or the Catholic, that they often read their Bible. Cause I'm probably going to say Bible a lot. That
the holy book,
when they read their Bible or their religious scripture, they often believe that their Bible is a giant list of commands, and a lot of people are like, no, that's not exactly what it spread the prayers, songs, and all the other things that comes with the Bible, and they misinterpreted it. But then, do you think some people will try to use their religious to say, it is going to get through, it is going to go there, it is going to get better, and some, because trying to tell that to a person that's homeless, that lost it all, put it in God's hands, like what would you think their response would be? Like, do you think they'll continue to accept that response? Or
I think it still is the coping thing. It's like you got to have some kind of hope. Some people, look at it as hope, because if you don't, then what's the point? If you could just sit there and just never believe that things will get better, then what's the point of continue on?
Okay.
But what do you think about it?
Or you still waiting for me to go?
I'm waiting on Gary.
I tell you, let's do this.
But let's try not to let it turn into a 20-minute rant. Just keep it at like 3 or 4.
I will try to keep it at least 4. At least give me 5.
Uh-oh, so you're going to have me do some more editing over here.
Yeah. So I pulled up definition, religion. It's a noun. Everybody can see that, just like the old school. An organized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. A study of world religions, including Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. Practices are against my religion. These are examples, blah, blah. Also, religious beliefs, observances, and social practice found within a given cultural text. Commitment or devotion to a god or gods, a system of belief or religious observance, a service and worship of a god, of multiple gods, or supernatural. Only reason I'm bringing this up because when people talk about religion and they get this idea that everything is based off of the Bible or the different Bibles, and that everything from that point would be somehow factual. So this is just the definition of religion, but if you look at it and go through it, none of it says that this is based off of anything based on facts. There are no facts about it. And if you go do an honest research look, they can make things appear to be in certain time periods and speak of different wars that may have happened during that time, but the actual physical evidence they do not have, and they cannot say that they had. If you Google it right now, is the Bible based off of facts? It's going to honestly tell you no. It's like, because there's no way to prove that every story in the Bible happened the way it is. It's not to be taken literally.
So before you go off on the train, I'm like, the question he was posing was, how do you take it, or what do you think about when you're going through something and they just say, "Oh, let God deal with it," or leave it up to God.
And right, and to me, this leads into it because it's like, if somebody tells you to leave it into God's hand, then now you know whatever God it is that you're praying to, or whatever that person is praying to, is not based off anything solid. So basically, what they're giving you is a toss up.
But not everybody gonna go look that up.
And you know what the problem in that is? Not everybody's going to look it up. But you'll run into somebody real quick to tell you, "Oh, Jesus did this," because it's like.
But just because you look it up doesn't make it right either. Just because Google says it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. When like, if you're really going through something and you're having a hard time and you're trying to figure out why, as you say, you go to something. Mm-hmm. You go to whether if it's God, the Messiah, or any of that. Like, and you look for that. But then, I'm not trying to say the phrase "put it in God's hands" is bad. I'm just saying, to a person, when you going through something, you are fucking pissed. You're mad. You're having a hard ass fucking time. You mad at your ex-wife or whatever the case. You gotta pay alimony. You gotta pay child support. You gotta give up the house. You lost your job. Like, you hitting some hard shit. But then you're walking down the street. If I gotta be blunt, and you voice that concern to someone that's willing to listen, and they don't. Of course, they're not gonna have an answer for you, because they're not gonna have an answer for you. They just tell you, put it in God's hand. Like, how would that make you feel? Because at that moment, you're going to be like, fuck, like, I might be okay 2 weeks from now. But at that moment, like, does it really, would you want to hear that at that moment? Like, does it really give you validation in your situation? You're probably going to say no.
Yeah, it wouldn't for me. How about if it's a person, then it wouldn't for me.
But it's just like, when you're looking at things like religion and stuff, it's like, you can't, personally, when you are a person who is religious, you're not looking at this as a science-based thing or something that is fact. It's usually around faith, and faith has nothing to do with fact. This is what you believe, how you model your thoughts and how you feel about this thing. So to, just looking at it as, oh, there's no proof that, this does this or this actually happened in the Bible, is like, that's really irrelevant to a person who believes, in this, because it's a faith-based, ideology and a feeling. It's something that, like I said before, is like, hey, when you don't have an explanation for things, this is the explanation. Because if you can't, then what's the point of going on? Because if nothing means anything, it's looking for, a reason to matter. Why things happen and why things have meaning. So we,
I like how you put that.
mm,
Being a non-religious person, that was interesting. I appreciate that. Put it in God's hands. Who is God? As you said, it's all about faith and what you feel on the inside. Uh, you know, you don't have to be religious to believe in God. You don't have to be. I think that Black people, just assume that you're a Christian and you believe in
Yeah,
Jesus and
that's
stuff like
exactly.
that. But that's not always the case. You can, believe in the tree. That's gonna help you. So put it in God's hands. Great example here. But if you do believe in God and believe in a higher power, and I'll even say I believe in Jesus, he hit it right on. It is the assumption that things will get better if you just believe. And what is well? What is doing well? There are some, everybody can't be a billionaire. Everybody can't have fancy cars. The world wouldn't even work that way. So you have to really look at yourself and say, hey, am I doing well? Or are you comparing yourself to the next man, which is not a God problem. That's actually your problem, So I do think that it's an easy thing to just say, if you walking down the street, you looking sad and you crying, instead of listening to your story, say, just put it in God's hands. Everything is going to be okay, which most of the time things do. But yeah, putting it in God's hands. If you are a Christian, would you say you identify as Christian? Or
I probably lean toward it more than anything, but I don't blankly say that I'm a Christian. I am more. I take what I like from here. I take what I like from here. And I take what I like from here.
You apply it to your life,
and I apply it to myself. I wouldn't say that I'm a Catholic or a Christian or any of these, because my perspective sometimes on religion, I feel like can be a cult. If you don't believe what I believe, and I think what you think, or you're Catholic or you're a Muslim, I think that, as they say, Christians are not going to necessarily say, I want you to burn in hell, but, some other religions like,
Jehovah's Witness, I just threw that out there.
Yeah, like
I've been one.
Some other religions will say, I don't believe what you believe, and you're going to burn in hell.
And that's fine.
And then, and that's fine. So that's why I don't get into I identify with this or that. I just be like, I feel like, hey, if you do good will come your way. If you do bad, you got bad coming your way. Does that align with anything? No, it kind of aligns with all of them, but without necessarily saying, I align with this one or this one or that one or this one. Because sometimes when you are having that conversation and when you have that uncle or your brother, you wake up in the morning, they just feed you, hey, I woke up. How you doing this morning? I'm doing good. God woke me up this morning. But then they take it to that extent. Or you have a Christian that's really up there, and like, do you kind of feel like some religions will weaponize it against you?
No.
You don't believe so?
No.
You don't believe
people talk about that with Christianity all the time. Oh, it's too many rules and all this stuff. Go with what you want to do. At the end of the day, it's your life. If you want to commit that sin, keep doing it. You'll find out, eventually we all gonna die. That's one thing that we know we're gonna do. You will find, if you want to sleep with all these women, if you want to kill people, if you want to destroy the community, in certain ways, when you die, you'll find out. And one thing that I love about the Bible is that regardless of if it's real or not, or we can prove it, all it teaches us to do is to love each other. And that is it. So whether it's real or not, whether there is a heaven or hell, I definitely believe that there is a heaven or hell. I believe in Jesus. I have to. But it just teaches you how to love. And that is nothing wrong with a book that's telling you to treat yourself right, treat your friends right, treat your neighbor right. I just don't. But yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, God I think that it's a great thing when somebody say put it in God's hands.
Mhm.
You know, they're just saying, hey, have faith.
Yeah.
It's saying, hey, believe in yourself. You know,
And I will agree with you on that one in terms of if you're going to read the Bible. To me, it's like I would take the Bible as a book of morality, and which, like I said, I'm not a religious person at all, but I've been through that book so many times as a Jehovah Witness, as a Catholic, as a Baptist. It's like I've been through the book. The one thing that it does teach is how to treat other people. Do unto others as you had them do unto you. And I live by that rule. That rule I'm cool with. So it's like, can I follow instructions out of it? Absolutely. Do I have to believe everything in it?
You don't have to believe Jesus walked on water. And it really doesn't, that shouldn't matter how you treat the next person.
Yeah, this is true. I would agree with that.
That issue with religion, it doesn't come, the issue that most people have with religion is not really in the Bible. It's the people who interpreted the Bible and use it as a weapon, which I firmly believe that people do use it as a weapon.
Or get a plane.
What? Now see, that's real.
Yeah,
that's
or
real.
To get a plane. You said use religion as a weapon or something. I said, or to get craft flow dollars.
Yeah, me and him.
Lord told me.
I wasn't even
about the mega pastors and stuff. That went over my head.
But they used it. Hey, they got planes.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was actually thinking from a from like a Islamic Muslim standpoint. That's where I went.
Oh, that's what I was.
Now that's racist. So everybody,
I can't be racist. I don't have any power.
But that my point was like, I think that's where so much of people who have animosity towards religion, I think it comes from the people and the structure of religion itself, not necessarily the Bible. Because like you said, it's like grandmother was a pastor. I'm like, I had me in church every single Sunday. So I'm like, I'm pretty familiar. I'm like, I'm not quoting scriptures or can tell you exactly who said what and all that other stuff, but I'm, pretty familiar, and I've never heard anything to say, if your neighbor doesn't believe, then you should go treat them like shit or cast them out and all that other stuff. It's like, no, like, you should try.
But it's in the Bible. I'm just going to throw that out.
You should try to convince them because we want them to be saved. We want them to have eternal life ever after and all that other stuff. But the core of everything that I've learned from religion and I apply to my life is, like you said, be a good fucking person. It's just like you can take that from it without
you definitely
having to downplay other people for not necessarily believing.
Yeah. I also think that people who have a problem with religion are or the Bible, Christianity, are ones that just kind of want to do what they want to do continuously and not be judged at the end of the day. I hear a lot of people, especially young people, say I'm spiritual, not religious. You can be spiritual all day. You can believe in God, like I said, you can believe in the tree. But religion, in all religions, there's discipline that you have to follow and you have to obey. And you make a choice to obey and follow that religion. And if you want to denounce your religion, you're just going to have to face the fact that, hey, especially people who have a lot of sex. That's just one where fornicating. People want to be able to have sex with whoever they want to have sex with, and married or not, which I don't even think you need to get married if you don't believe in Jesus. But anyway.
So that means I can get out of this? Is it?
Well, see,
no.
But I feel like, those are the people who say I'm not religious and who make a big deal about it are the ones that don't want to follow, and I'm just using Christianity, don't want to follow certain guidelines, certain disciplines that the Bible says not to do. They like, you know what? Okay, I'm not religious no more. At the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen when we take our final breath. So you take that chance at the end of the day. And if there is a heaven and hell, if you okay with going to hell, then keep doing what you're doing. You know.
But question, because that's why I said like I wouldn't necessarily align, because certain things that I believe in, like I do believe in Jesus, do believe in God, but that's what you're kind of putting those statements out there. It's not a debate between me and you, but it's just more of a conversation because you are kind of saying, hey, if you don't believe in this thing, whether if it's heaven or hell, like. Do you think that's more of I am casting my religion on you because I am saying if we don't know what's going to happen when you die, would you think people do pass that upon people to say, hey, if it is a hell and it turns out to be true because I believe my religion is right or yours or Catholic or the Messiah or whatever, do you think that is kind of using that? Pushing that because some people would probably assume like, well, are you saying when I die because I'm not a Catholic?
A weak person would.
Yeah,
a weak person.
I would say, see you there.
Yeah,
you're going to hell. Yeah.
I'll send you a seat. A weak person would feel that way. Yeah. If you tell me, like I said, like flying the plane. If some people actually feel like, you blow yourself up.
Got that.
You blow
that's not
what I got from that.
That wasn't the joke I made, but it was still funny.
That's what they were saying. But even after you said Muslim, I still didn't make that connection. Like 9/11.
They felt like they were doing God's work.
Right.
So
and then you still even have other Muslims saying, "Hey, that's not what our Quran teaches."
Right.
Like they misinterpret that to fit their
I'm just throwing up
just like everybody else.
I would highly recommend for those that are not familiar with the Islam to go study it. Mm-hmm. You'll find out some shocking shit. Don't take my word for it, but
and it just believe in something. Believe what if that well, at least for me. Believe in God, believe in Jesus, but you don't necessarily need to get that from a Bible or from a religion. You can believe based upon what you see is good and you see as evil. Do you think that people necessarily need to learn that from a religion? Like you can just say, I believe in God, but I don't read the Bible, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, but I don't necessarily need to be with a religion or to have that title on my chest to say that, to prove that I believe.
As a Christian, you do have to profess Jesus
to a religion,
yes, you have to profess like that Jesus is
core things,
the only way. Going through Jesus to get to God. And I don't feel like I'm using it as a weapon to tell you what to do with your life. Mm-hmm. I'm just going with what my Bible is telling me to do. And so if you don't want to believe certain parts of it, then that's on you. But I'm not trying to beat you over the head saying, "Oh, you going." Well, you do have people that do that. So you're going to hell if you don't do that. But guess what? Everybody's sinning. So guess what? We all going to hell then.
Yeah, and I think that, like I was saying and alluding to earlier, I feel like that is where the issue comes for the most part. I get what you were saying as far as people just not wanting to go by rules and stuff, and it's like that shit that applies to society as well. Like people don't want to follow laws and shit too. So that makes sense as far as people don't want to have to. A lot of people do look at the Bible as a list of rules, and people do tend to get turned off from that and just say, "Hey, I don't want to live my life like this because it's more fun doing the shit I want to do." It's like, but I think for the majority of people who have issues with religion, it stems from those issues stem from the human beings that are teaching and interpreting and casting shame and things like that on people, and it can be interpreted through anything from you saying we don't know what's going to happen when we die, but when we die, if you've lived your life according to the religion, you're going to be good. That's just a part of your natural that's a part of your faith. So faith. It's like it's not necessarily just because and a part of that means, unfortunately, my faith says that if you don't believe, unfortunately, you're going to go to hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily.
That's what I'm saying.
Attack,
do you need to get that
do.
from a Bible? What you just said. Do you need to get that from a Bible or a Catholic Bible or any of that? Do you need to read the Bible, or do you just, hey, I know I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I don't need to get that validation from a Bible, because you have so many different Bibles and so many different, whatever.
But I mean, the teaching itself comes from the Bible. So outside of, like, no matter where you get it, what source you get it from, the teaching itself, it comes from the Bible, and who somebody at some point, whoever taught the person that taught you to taught them, is like it came from from that source. But as far as how you decide to live your life after that point, it's just like you can be a good person, and you can be a would depend on who you ask. Some people believe that you can be a good Christian without having to go to church every single Sunday.
Yeah,
and other people don't believe that. A lot of, depending on, they got the different denominations and shit. It's like certain denominations believe you got to do a certain thing.
Yeah,
and that's the only way. This is
the Bible does nowhere does it say you got to go to church every Sunday.
Right. That's why I said different denominations.
And some people believe because I go to church every week, I don't have to read the Bible.
You're right. Yeah. Everybody is individual. Yeah. We're all individual. And weak-minded people succumb to BS.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so what I say to you, I have a friend who we were talking about. We were talking about a couple of things, but I'll just use divorce. I'll use divorce. So divorce is frowned upon in the Bible. Okay. Now you're going to hear people say, well, if you getting your ass beat all the time, or they cheating on you all the time, or they stealing from you all the time, then that's grounds for divorce. Fine. You can interpret that any way you want. You get divorced, you get married again, and you get divorced. I got a grandma, she's been divorced 4 times.
Damn.
So it's like, you can't keep doing things over and over and over as a Christian and thinking just because you repent that you automatically going to heaven. Mm-hmm. That is where people get things misunderstood.
Unless you're Catholic. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
Because you can pay your way out of that. No bullshit.
You gonna talk
I've been there
to somebody behind the sheet.
I asked a lot of questions outside of murder and some nefarious shit.
Yeah.
If you're Catholic,
yeah.
Oh, you good?
Suicide.
Yeah. Well, and then with Jehovah's,
God, apparently.
With Jehovah's Witnesses, they say it's 144,000 people that's going to make it.
I've heard that story
that means I'm pretty sure it's pretty full up there by now. I'm pretty sure 144,000 people then died. That's Jehovah that is up there. There's no more room.
They're in a holding pattern.
Yeah,
144,000 honestly is a holding pattern.
But maybe they're going to
so
make it a bigger number.
When they get that number called.
How would you,
I want to make sure you understand that it's really all about, it's objective. I think that's the right word.
Subjective.
Subjective is when you are, I always get this mixed up.
Objective is factual based. Subjective is personal.
It's subjective, personal, and how you choose to look at it. And you don't have to, like I said, you can't just keep committing sins over and over and over, even if you do believe that Jesus is the only way. That that's not what the Bible teaches. And so what was the thing he said? God bless. What did he say?
Put it in God's hands.
Put it in God's hands. It's all really up to you. And I wouldn't say compare yourself to others is the way to kind of figure out if putting it in God's hands is working or not.
Oh yeah, because you'll definitely know if it's working.
Yeah, money. I challenge, especially women, to take money out of things and see how happy you are. And because most people measure love with money.
Yes,
and that is not the Christian way. The Bible does not teach you that, and you have to challenge yourself. And and I passed it on to my kids, even though they don't really follow it too well right now, but hopefully they will, is that, it's really here.
Yeah,
It's really here.
100%.
And waking up every day is a blessing, unless you want to be dead, and if you want to be dead, you can take care of that yourself, So yeah.
My thing is this: when it comes to religion, you had brought it up in terms of like, where are you getting this information and the source from? To me, it's like every religion has a different God, because there's never, well, I haven't experienced it from the places that I've been and actually sat and learned from. Their God scales is on completely. Jehovah's Witness is different from Catholicism. Catholicism is different from Buddhism. Buddhism different from. So they're all, in a way, it's like they're praying to seven. As far as Judaism concerned, if you want to consider the Torah being the original books of the Bible, Jews ain't fucking with y'all. Yeah, don't get it twisted, because they wrote that the Old Testament and their God has nothing to do with the New Testament and the new God. They're outlined and I had a dude that I had to sit down and have a conversation with just out of curiosity. But he's like, yeah, that shit don't apply to y'all. Oh, okay. Went and spoke to my buddy Muhammad, like, hey, Muhammad, what's up with Islam? Explain to me how this works. Yeah, that shit doesn't apply to y'all. Okay.
Yeah, because however you live your life, but if your religion tells you can have 6 wives, and then you don't necessarily, I forgot what religion that
polygamy, but yeah, you can do that.
Polygamy,
Islam, yeah, you can have multiple wives too.
That's a.
But yeah, I don't think most religions were created to save everybody. Like I said before, I'm like, religion to me was created to, to give, a group of people purpose and reason and standards and rules to live by, to abide by, to ensure that we have, a prosperous community. If you go completely back before the Abrahamic religions and stuff, it's like, we were praising, God of water, God of the sun, God of, X, Y, and Z.
Amen Ra.
Like, yeah.
Amen Ra.
Even before all of that, like you go all the way back, it's like everything in nature had some sort of deity controlling it, and that you would either sacrifice to or give to, or something to, to show them favor and stuff. And it's like all that stuff is way before, somebody came up with the idea of there only being one God. It was
right,
like
monotheism.
God was in everything. So,
and if you want a real interest, I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off, but anybody interested in wanting to know a real story of how the Greeks twisted that whole thing around so it would be just one God, it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, but so just on the, the exclusionary aspect of, of some religions, is like, I don't think that the majority of them were meant to include everybody, especially not the ones that were started by the, the poor and the downtrodden, like the Jews and stuff. It's like, they were a small group of people that everybody was shitting on, and it's just like they had to be like, all right, cool, y'all shitting on us, so let's make it to where is that we can feel good about who we are, since everybody else, thinks that we are, less than or whatever, man. So in their, in their Torah, that came about like, okay, cool. Well, we must be the chosen ones. Since everybody hating on us, we must be the chosen ones. And then everybody who is not us, y'all got to deal with y'allself.
Just how black people built America.
But that's saying just random shit, and it always just like
we had an uncle Leroy who he was pure atheist, and he loved to see someone who believed in God coming, and it's one thing to not believe in Jesus, or you believe in Muhammad, or you believe in the Buddha, but I think we all can look around and see that a human being didn't create what Earth, and the sun and the animals and things like that. So, I think that, God, whatever supernatural power that is God, you can acknowledge that, hey, that is something someone somewhere that's not in the flesh that has done this. And to just treat yourself well as best as possible and treat others well. And, God is supposed to be helpful. God is universal. And if you got to think of something or pray for something or have faith in something, have faith in God and have faith in yourself that everything will work out for you. Everybody's destination is different and path is different. I think there's a movie that I have not seen, but I think everybody had the same amount of money and nobody was working. You didn't have, everybody had like $1 million or $1 billion, and you didn't have people like myself, like driving a bus or you at a print shop or you delivering milk. You didn't have to do that because you had all this money.
I have a job, Tony, by the way.
It was chaos. Well, I don't have a name. I don't have a name.
I'm sorry.
You don't have a face.
Mr.
You don't have a job. We don't know who you are. You are the Wizard of Oz. You are God. Okay.
Oh yeah, but and for the sake of the conversation, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
I don't want y'all to be looking at me like, here's your Bible, sir. You gonna need? No, I'm just asking a question.
Well, you need it.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah.
You need your Bible.
That's what my only, well, one of my issues, is just with that goes. It, like I said before, is like it's usually comes from experiences with other human beings, because it's like I don't see how much you can. There's things in there that I've read that was like that kind of sounds fucked up or whatever, but it's like for the most part, it's just like it's a positive thing that that's trying to be pushed across. Yeah. So all the negativity and the animosity, all that shit is man-made, and it's human. It's human people that are causing this, and honestly pushing people away from a religion that, one of the few religions that actually do want to bring everybody in and say, hey, I want to save you. I'm come and join and this stuff. Mm-hmm. But you got people, human beings that, want to interpret it the way that they want to interpret it and want to preach it and push it on other people the way that they want to do it. And then ultimately you end up with, scorned people that denounce it and then dedicate their whole life to, to shitting on it because of, experiences they've had with people who are human beings in a religion that are not just good human beings, which you're going to find everywhere, in every religion, in every society, in every community. You're not going to escape shitty people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And I had a pastor say recently that each person is going to have an interaction with God. And you are going to have to figure out which way to go. Go ahead.
Yes, you are.
No, and this is why I would take certain issues, because my problem when I was growing up and was always told the same answer is that my thing would be why. So if your pastor were to say something to me like that, I would ask him, where did you get this information? How do you know that?
Well, everything Gary is.
Well, no, and don't. I'm just asking, just as a quick question. I would ask him, like, so how do you know this? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, how do you know you're going to make it to?
How do you know
home?
Know anything?
Yeah. It's all faith based, and Mr. C here explained that beautifully, better than I could ever explain it. And I will. You might hear me say it again, and I may not quote you, but just know that I got it from you.
I don't even remember what I said.
Oh no, yeah,
but just coming off the top.
But it is just having faith, and you cannot question. You can't go Google everything and get the right answers. Just like the news is going to give you what you want, your questioning is going to maybe not give you what you want.
Well, for me, Google is the start. Google is the launching pad to tell me which direction they head before I go full on and take on anything else.
And sometimes it doesn't work all the time. No, it does not.
No. But depending on what the subject is that's how deep I will go with it. If it's something that really is going to apply to me in life, it's like, well, that's how serious I'm going to take it. That's how much research I'm going to do with it. Religion background to me had paid such a price because I had so many questions that nobody wanted to answer. So I had to go find the answers on my own. And this is before the internet. And it's like, so I've dug through the books. I think I've done my fair share in trying to find an answer to those questions that nobody wanted to touch. And in doing so, it's like, this is where I found certain things. It's like I went to this one mega church and dude turned the story of Job into a story about how God wants you to have money. They ain't got shit to do with the book of Job.
Who cares, though?
Well, if the question is who cares, then why teach
He's human. You don't worship the pastor.
Oh yeah, I'm not worshiping the pastor, but the pastor has a congregation that he's sitting there and he's telling these people that may not know how to go back and, do the research.
Critical thinking is
but he's telling them that. So it's not on me because I practically last. I'm like, yeah, okay. If that's what you got out of, reading it and you told this big ass church that, it's like, that's on y'all. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But there are people out there like that. So it's like, so that's not doing anybody any benefit. If you took that story and that's what you got out of it.
That's what I say, it's for the weak. If you idolize a human being, or you're just going to take that person's word for it just because it's that person, you are the fool. You can go read that Bible yourself and you can interpret it the way you want, and then you can apply it to your life the way you want. And I challenge people, you go find. I done went to a different church the last 4 weeks, and each preacher interpreted the Bible differently, and one of them was a female. You say all females should be in the pulpit, so that's one thing in its own. But you can't just say, hey, because Gary said we got to go research it, then that's what we do. And I also think that it's harder to live life the way you do. I think that when you have to challenge and research everything and question it, it's like, geez, where I'm really curious to see where you find your happiness when you have to challenge everything. And you feel like everything has to be researched. I think that I love the Lord. I haven't read the Bible from cover to cover, and I'm not one of them scripture quoters and all that. I try to use common sense in how to treat myself. Like, I love to drink Pepsi. I know Pepsi's not good for me, but I keep doing it every day. I try to just apply it to my life. But I'm not going to continue to everything trying to say, oh, well, no, with this research said this and this research said that. You got the Bible. They talk about the lost chapters. What do I care about some lost chapters of the Bible? If I can't go open my Bible and go find it, that means that I'm not supposed to find it. So how do you find?
Somebody decided that you weren't supposed to find it.
Maybe that is true. But you can't keep just like even with racism, you can't just assume, oh, just because that white person over there pushed the man overboard, that white man over there you can't trust. If you have to always just look over your shoulder for answer and go to a phone for answers, where do you find your happiness?
Courtney, you want to ask that question because you know me, but don't say weed, but the other stuff. I find my happiness in honestly in day to day just really being with my wife and my daughter doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And anybody that knows me or spent any type of time with me and be like, that's a goofy ass dude. I'm happy about 98% of the day. Okay. When I get in traffic, that's the 2% that has pissed me off like forever. Now me,
and I agree with you. I think that you're a great person. I always enjoy being around.
That's not what you said at the picnic.
What I said. What I say?
Oh, when you was like, oh, well, I heard you stepped up on me. Dennis was sitting at the table. Y'all was looking kind of grouchy. Like, this was before the election with Harris and Trump. I don't want to get into that. But to answer your question is like, that's how my brain works. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those people that me personally, it's like I have to have an honest answer to something. Like if you were in a disagreement with another person, I would never take your side until I heard the other person's side. And it's not
fair.
And
that's
it's
fair.
Yeah, right. It's not because I know you. I like Mr. T, and I don't know this other person. Just to be on the same page, I would have to hear both of them out, because now I would have to have something to apply that to, and then it'll tell within time of how that story revolves with. If I'm that interested in it, then I will find out that, and if I may not be right on that. Of course, I may take the other person's side and there was some missing information. But to me, I would have to research before I make a solid conclusion or a solid, like, this is it 100% before I commit to anything. Mm-hmm. And again, to me, I think that's being fair. Mm-hmm. I was like, so that judgment day do pop up, and then right, that God be like, hey, you said such and such and such. Hey, the way that I am, I'm be like, hey, dude, you got me. Mm-hmm. I was like, I thought you had some bad messages, and if we gonna point some fingers, I was like, let's point at you too. Mm-hmm. I do some silly shit like that, but if hell is where I gotta go, then hey, I made my bed, I'll lay in it. Ain't no big deal.
But do you think, because you said, because I wanted to ask the question, to everyone, because you said that why question everything. Because I often think about those individuals that do go to church and never read the Bible or any scriptures, but they rely on the pastor or the person that's preaching to give them that word. And, also at the same time, you do got the pastors up there that pushing the message for you to give them money. And it sounds good. They can talk good. They can give you a good message. You can leave out of that church feeling good. Like, man, I'm glad I came in here. I am taking in his word. Whoever that person you are following or whatever that religion is, do they owe themselves the responsibility to at least try to look up what that person is preaching toward them? Because well, you just preaching just to try to get me to pay your light bill or push. But we do sometimes often see that. But I'm going from the basis of the individual that go to church and only receive the word from the pastor. But it's not necessarily a question towards you or any of you.
Do you think that goes into what I said before? It's like that's a person-to-person thing, and that's always going to be. I feel like any problems, any issues that the average person would take up with religion can be distilled down to the messenger and the person who said this thing that you have an issue with. Because and until you do the research and go and look it up for yourself, and then you can decide on whether or not you disagree what was actually written, and not base your opinion off of somebody else who read the same thing as you. And like G said last time, it's like, hey, look, all four of us could read an article and come up with four different summarizations of what that article said and what it meant and what implications that it could have. So anything like that, that's on a person-to-person basis. Like, just because the person makes it up to be able to preach in the pulpit doesn't mean that they actually should be the person there. And it's like, if I'm not mistaken, when Jesus came around, he flipped over plenty of tables, and he had issues with plenty of so-called preachers that were out there preaching the word of God and taking up all the gold and going buying the extra lamb and the extra sheep and shit instead of fixing up the church or whatever. Mm-hmm. But also, I think that ties into your previous question. Is just like, how do you find happiness when you always got to find research and look into things and always got to question stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Personally, me and Gary disagree on a lot, but a lot of stuff we do agree on. And one of the biggest things is, you're not going to just tell me something, expect me to just go off and just walk around like that's a fact. It's just like, you can tell me something and I'll hear it out. If it makes sense to me, I'll be like, you know what? That's interesting. That's a good way to look. That's an interesting.
It's always
going
to be open-minded.
But when I go home, if I care about the situation,
exactly,
if you care, that's the big part of it.
Yeah.
If I care,
and quit sending me shit that got to do with math, because I'd be like, I ain't looking at this.
So if I care, I'm going to go home and I'm going to look into this, and I'm going to fall down some rabbit holes. And I got that bad. It's like I'll be sitting there for a whole day.
Yeah, day 3.
Just like falling down rabbit holes, looking at different people's interpretation of whatever this topic is. And from one example is like the Egyptians and the stuff like that, and all the monoliths and things that they are finding over there. Is like traditional science has one explanation for it, but there's a growing group of scientists who believe something different, and they saying, hey, look, we think that these scientists are overlooking this, and this is it's got something else to it, and we think it's like this. So it's like when I hear this stuff, like I'm looking up the thing that's that brought it to my attention, which happened to be the newer scientist perspective on things. So I'm looking it up, but I don't go, to the next person like, hey, this is what actually happened, and this is what actually the scientists is telling us this and that, but this is what actually is happening. No, I look up their perspective, and then I go and look up the traditional, perspectives, and then I can try with my limited knowledge and limited personal experience doing it, out there in the field, try to come up with what I think makes the most sense to me. And then I find my happiness in knowing that I'm not just taking somebody's word for something, and I'm not just, going out and parroting whatever somebody else told me. And then that's only on subjects that I care about. Anything else is like, all right, cool. You might get a Google out of me. That's cool. But outside of that, my happiness does not really depend on, finding, accepting things as fact. Like my happiness comes from the people inside my household and my circles outside of that, and making sure that, I got my shit together.
I know that, and I forget stuff, so that's why I'm moving and all antsy. So I'm trying to remember what I said. I know we're getting close to the 2 hours, but I do want to say that there is a popular pastor.
It's not a hard stop if you want to keep going.
It's
not a hard stop.
I said 3 hours, but that's
there's a popular pastor on the South Side that I'm not going to be unapologetic. I'm not going to say his name, but I have been to his church a couple of times.
What block is it
very, on? Very popular.
I know
church.
who you're talking about.
It's on 38th Street. It's on 38th. Don't even lie.
No,
it's
definitely not Bishop Smith. Definitely not Bishop Smith.
You talking about Sony Island.
So I every time I've gone to his church, that has been the word, is that, your success is building is dependent on how much money you have. Go ahead, start that business. You don't have to be a bus driver. And I'm sitting there like, I've been a bus driver for 15 years and I'm doing okay. So everything that he was saying is money, financial, making you happy. But that is the society that we live in. If you're on social media, you are watching people post their best life, act like they have the most money, and they probably are the broken that don't have nothing, running up credit cards and scamming. Yeah. So you would have to, like I said, religion is not for the weak. So you have to be able to experience different pastors, different people, and align yourself with the like people so that you can make that determination on, I like people who are going to teach me the word and give me different perspectives. I don't need you to tell me how to make money, because that is not the key to anybody's happiness, nor is it the more money you have, you go to heaven. That's just not. And
that quote that's so popular in the Bible, rich man has a better time going through the eye of a needle than getting into my Father's kingdom.
It's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than a rich man.
The either part.
And you just, money. But I get what you're saying. Definitely pastors.
And it's, like when we talked about it, before when someone tells me something like, is it going to catch my interest enough to where I want to go teach it to somebody else? Like, and that's like, a value I hold to myself whenever someone is talking to me about something. Is it going to catch my interest enough? And if I like that information, or if it's a topic about religious, job, money, or whatever the case, like, hey, am I going to go voice it to somebody else? Because that's how much it moved me. That's how much it caught my attention. Like, it got my ears buzzing. Am I going to go teach this to someone else? That's very important. But, Yeah.
And one quick addition to what I said earlier, I find my happiness in knowing that my opinions are my own. Mm-hmm. And they're not.
Put that on a t-shirt.
You should. Fact your feelings right in front. But like, I find great happiness in knowing that, my opinions, and like I say opinions a lot, is stronger than what most people think when they say opinions. It's like, I don't
beliefs.
Yeah. But it's like, it's more than just, the first thing that comes to mind when somebody brings up a topic. It's like, no, like, what do you actually think and believe about, X, Y, Z situation? And so many people, they get their beliefs and their opinions from somebody else, from some other place. And it's so many, like in the church setting, it's so many of those, people who pastor said. So it's like, yeah, you get in your I would posit that, religion should not be for the weak, or it's not for the weak, but it tends to attract them.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
tends to attract a lot of weak people who just want something to belong to believe in, for somebody to tell them, what's right, what to do, how to live, so they can be closer to God.
Yeah, and to a degree, I don't fault that. I mean, in terms of a person wanting to belong something to make themselves or improve themselves, going to a church helps people in terms of building up their confidence, their self-esteem, their insecurities, getting them away from that, then I have no problem with it. Mm-hmm. It's not that I dog certain religions because I dog them because, I don't believe in them. But if anything helps a person becomes better, then I'm all for it. If it helps them become better. Mm-hmm. Now, when you talk about people going to church and the pastor is sitting there trying to get money, who's that dude that locked everybody in the church? Told them they wasn't making out unless they paid a certain amount.
Singer, right? Marvin Sapp.
Marvin Sapp. Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like stuff like that. I'm like, now who are the people that are showing up in this church? If you believe that money
and who's going to give it? Why would you give it?
Right. Not only that, dude, and I was telling somebody, I was like, oh, it would have been a fight up in there. Some lightning bolts would have surely had to come through.
I get your point, but even though I agree for the most part with your point, I do have to acknowledge and bring out the fact that is a lot of times taken out of context and exploded up to look like something else. And from my understanding, during offering, doors are supposed to be closed anyway, because people are handling money. They pulling out their pocketbook and stuff like that. So it's more of like a security and a safety.
But you're not supposed to not let people leave.
Right. Did you watch the video?
That's what I was going to ask. I'm like, he said that part of it as well? It's like, ain't nobody leaving.
We staying up in here. Yeah.
There have been pastors who say, hey, we have to reach this goal, and, or I need $1,000 extra, and that's fine. They can say whatever the hell they want, but you don't have to dig in your pocket if you don't have it. I'm not giving my last to a church. I just don't believe that is what God would want for me, to give my last and to have just pray that money is going to be there.
Tithes were set up for the Levites that took care of the church. That's when tithing was in to help assist those that were assisting the church, basically. Mm-hmm. So it's like, then they just turned it into this. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna need $4,000. Nigga, you about to need a hospital bed. Because if you telling me that I can't leave out a door until I give you some money and you on some bull, no, we fighting. All of my so-called Christian values you would have wanted me to have, it's not in there.
And then a lot of churches are nonprofit organizations. So, you know,
that money going straight in the pocket. Yeah. 501c3. I learned about that talking to one of the most crookedest pastors I've ever met. His deacon was a dope dealer. So it's like, oh, we reformed. No, you're not. Nigga, I just saw you not 2 days ago. It's like, so yeah, no, you can miss me with
you
that.
don't idolize a human. You know, it's like we have sons, you know, look up to your dad, you know, or we have children, you know, look up to your dad, blah, blah, blah. That's where, you know, you idolize and you have heroes that are in human form or in superhero form. But, you know, to idolize a human being, you as an adult, you know, is like, okay.
It's foolish.
Yeah.
And not only from a religion aspect, but just from a human, like another
common
human
sense.
being. Yeah, common sense aspect. It's like, it's foolish. And that you forgetting what human beings are. And like, we're fallible people. Like, it's nobody you're going to find walking down the street is perfect.
And then when you take that, then you try to apply it to every aspect of your life, especially when you mix religion with politics, then it get very toxic. Because then now, you know, you putting your claim out there for, you know, whatever politician or alderman. This alderman said, you know, it's like, it's just such a bad weapon that we even use. But, you know, it's
just like the you brought up earlier, which I guess we could transition to the doggone NBA, the WNBA.
Yeah,
and they trying to get men to be able to fill out a piece of paper saying that they're a woman, and they be in the NBA scoring 500,000 points.
In all honesty, they opened the door for it. So I don't even watch the NBA, WNBA. I tried when the little white girl came on because I was sitting there getting ready for work one morning, and I was watching the news. The sports part was on. And this was before I even knew who she was. And I just saw, like, out the corner of my eye, I just saw this little white thing running up and down a robotic. I was like, the fuck? That's like, they got robots in the WNBA, but it was Caitlin Clark. And she was juking the shit out of motherfuckers. And then when I saw her, I was like, is this like Larry Bird's daughter? Because all they would show is like hitting threes. And then it's like, after that kind of wore off, I was like, oh, well, that was interesting. I wouldn't play ball.
I think that was a
what?
A fad, for lack of a better word, as far as like the popularity and the explosion in popularity during that time period. And it was like, not that it doesn't deserve, you know, to be popular.
Oh, that white girl can hoop.
Yeah,
let's not be crazy.
I don't watch basketball at all. So, but I'm like people were, you know, judges. I think it was like a bandwagon thing. It became the thing to do to say that you support the WNBA. And I've been watching, and it's like, well, how many teams they got? It's like, you can't even answer that question.
I'm finding out they've been in existence for 20 years and haven't turned a profit yet.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I'm like, who does that? How do you get a job and you don't do shit for your job for 20 years, but yet you get paid?
But you know how they're going to do it, you know. There's nothing wrong with it until you introduce politics and identity politics into it. And then you try to, you know, are they making a profit now? You know, because you got more organizations jumping
so far
in.
away from making a profit.
Yeah, they
crazy.
Just now had to pay the players more. So that's going to set them back even more.
But could you imagine now that we start to see like politicians jumping into the game? Like, oh, we got an endorsement, or I endorse this person, or they start endorsing politician from the team or the player standpoint, and completely, like, I don't want to say ruining women's basketball because you throw politicians into it, but it seems like that now because now you got people talking about, you know, men competing in the sport. So
well, absolutely, whoever gonna get them the most money, some grant money, yeah, they gonna start putting. Brought to you by
Enes Kanter is one of the guys who was actually a good NBA player who filed, you know, to be eligible for the WNBA draft. He has zero intent on playing in the WNBA, but he is just doing it to prove a point.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them did.
Yeah, him and another black guy. So it's like, but you know, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but the WNBA, who claims to be inclusive and, for everybody, you have left yourself susceptible to this. And
How so?
Oh my God, I got a nasty response.
Well, no.
How so? I said because they want to be inclusive. We want to be treated like the guys, and this person gay is okay, and blah blah blah. That's all a part of the inclusion. And so if you're going to say that, then a man should be able to apply to play in the WNBA, and you shouldn't have a problem with it. Now, is it going to go through?
Right?
If
that's what they want to stand
right. So, but I think now it'll probably go high. Maybe they'll pay him off, but then if you pay him off, you're going to get even more lawsuits. So things have just spiraled out of control when it comes to that community, that inclusive, community, and all organizations that back it are susceptible to it, and they just doing it to prove a point. They sitting back, they doing podcasts and shows, they're talking about it, getting paid, for doing it, making a whole bunch of money. They'll settle out. Now there's a bigger problem. So that America didn't think about when they were allowing a lot of the LGBTQ plus IA stuff to.
Oh man, you almost nailed it. I think you was missing the letter.
Yeah, it got extended now. So
did it?
Yeah. So
and I think it's 2 pluses now. So
oh wow,
yeah.
Well, I don't.
But me personally, I say I call not towards anyone here, but I call a lot of bullshit because I feel like some of these individuals that are coming in doing this, you don't see the women going into bodybuilding competition up against the men. You don't see them, or I want to make sure I'm using the right word. You don't see the trans men going into the weightlifting competition against actual men. We only see this going one way. Men going into women's sports.
That's not true.
You don't think so? I have never seen.
That's not true at all.
So there's women playing in men's sports?
They are
going up again. Boxing, UFC, weightlifting competition, strongman, UFC. They try, but we don't see it broadcast on the news as much as we see on the opposite side. I haven't.
Yeah,
but
on a local level, you'll see more of the females going into male things on a local level, whereas we know that the person, the lowest paid person in the NBA, the lowest skilled person in the NBA is going to be better than the best person in the WNBA. We know that on a local level, especially like with kids, that girls, I want to play with the boys. That type of stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not saying zero, but like as far as
are you speaking specifically about transitioning? Like transgender?
Yeah. I'm actually.
And are you speaking about transgender or just girls, like actual?
No, I'm
self-acknowledging girls.
Let me recap. I'm talking about the trans man that actually goes into the women's sport. I'm sorry. Let me start.
We get you the other way around. Yeah.
I mean the trans women that actually goes into men's sport, such as you were born a woman.
I get confused too.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but I don't know how to label them, so I'm out of the labeling.
The trans women were men. Trans men were women.
Yeah, the trans women that goes into the actual men competition, such as bodybuilding, UFC, boxing, some of these hardcore sports that are for men. If you take a 175-pound person that was born a woman and now identified man, and you go to strongman competition. I don't see sports like that broadcast.
But I'm not qualified.
I'm not. Yeah, but
because they won't make it.
yeah, but I'm not saying zero happened, but I'm also, you know, why is it only one way? Why is it only the men?
Because
that, you know,
they're not strong enough. They can't compete with a man. It's just not. Now, there are probably plenty of women stronger than me, you know. But when you go to a professional level, it's just not even.
Yeah, because like you see some of these YouTubers online even right now, and they were born a man and they now identify as a girl, and they go into these competitions just for a video sake. And I'm not an athlete. I'm not a trained athlete. I'm finna go to this track meet and run against these girls and win in dominant fashion. You only see it one way, but the opposite way around.
Yeah, you don't see the girls out there dominating in the dance sport.
Call a spade a spade. It's because they know that they're going to win. It's like that's why they're doing it, because they know that they're going to win.
Yeah.
It's like it's not. It would be pretty foolish, and any real trained female athlete, I've never heard outside of Clarissa Shields, any real female athlete who's actually good and respected in her craft say that, hey, I can go play with the guys. Never. I've never heard Serena. I've heard Serena Williams say the complete opposite. Serena Williams, the best woman tennis player ever to exist. And this woman has plenty of times gone and said, hey, I can't keep up with the men. There's no way in the world.
That would actually be one of the cases that I've been like, no, Serena can whoop some dudes.
She would know better than we would. So
yeah, but like I didn't hear, but I'm saying that if she said it, she said it. Yeah. But it was like a question like, can Serena whoop a dude? Like, hell yeah.
Not on
a professional level. No.
Could Serena win some points and maybe some games? Yes.
I think she's said that.
No.
Like,
not. No.
So, but it's just like that's the only way that it works, because the men who have decided to become women, they know that they have this biological advantage and that they can take advantage of. Meanwhile, the women who were born women, they know, hey, I can't do that. It's like that's just not the way biology works. Right. It's like we can't control it. Like unless I'm, getting on peptides and all this other stuff, it's like I cannot do that. But the men, they know they can do it.
A curiosity as to what that led to, because I'm a conspiracy theorist also. But it's like, where was that leading to when this change happened, where they were able to go out and tell little kids that, hey, if you don't feel right inside, then you might be a girl. Or if you're a girl, you might be a boy. And we're going to focus in on that over education. And that's what happened, because I recall hearing a lot of stories of parents. And it was one recently where this little kid was reading this book. He was in 3rd grade and he was reading this book about gay sex. And it was a graphic ass book because they made him read it in front of like the city council. And some of the shit that he was, and I'm sitting there like, wait, when the fuck did this happen? But somehow it made it to this point now where you have to argue the difference between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude.
It all started with marriage. They wanted to get married. And once that passed, you just opened up the floodgates. And I will have to, as a majority of the time voting Democrat, I have to thank the Democrats for that.
I don't think it's necessarily tied to just being gay or bisexual, because it's so many times where I've heard, people who are just gay or bisexual, they say, hey, this shit is fucking nuts. And it's like, we ain't signed up for this shit. It's like, we've been sitting here and it'd be like OG gay people. Like,
that's right, the old school.
Yeah, that was gay in the 80s when it wasn't cool, it wasn't popular.
Right. When Wham was out, George Michaels.
So they was like, hey, this is not the shit that we fought for. It's like, we've been fighting for this shit and y'all taking it and y'all making it something completely different. Yeah. And it's actually hurting our cause, and it's making people not take us serious, because it's like now we're lumped in, with this, these extra letters and shit. It's just like, yo, I'm gay, I'm not trans. It's like their fight is different from my fight. Yes, we both face stigma, we both face hate and stuff, but it's different. It's no different than a Mexican person and a Black person talking about the issues that they have.
Or
they are similar, but they are not the same.
I'm black,
not interchangeable.
I'm not gay. They have made it where that community acts as if they have been, discriminated against like black people, and they have taken the, some of the things that black people have aimed for over the years and tried to get. I don't want to use the word reparations, but I think you all kind of get what I'm saying. They have infused themselves in that fight, and that is not fair.
And just to piggyback off of that one, and I don't understand why there aren't as many as black people in an outrage and uproar, because how they did that is that they latched that on to the Civil Rights Act.
Absolutely.
So now everything that they get passed and going through is part of that. And that doesn't just apply to them, it applies to the immigrants and everybody else.
Yes.
So now everybody done hopped on this one ship that we were supposed to be focused on. Now you got gays, now you got people that, cross the borders, whatever. But I was like,
if you disagree, you're evil.
Yeah. Oh, and you racist.
Right. And
you're
racist. Canceled. You're canceled.
Cancel culture. Well, I think that's over with. The cancel culture, they can try, but it's just like everybody got their own lane, and
you can't say certain things. You don't you dare say nothing about no gays.
But it's like it depends on who you are. It's like I'm pretty sure LeBron James couldn't come out and say something against gay people, but
he could.
He will face backlash.
He will face backlash.
To my point,
it's certain people that
but to my point being, he will still be able to do what it is that he wants to do.
Very few. LeBron is one of them people, like Dave Chappelle. He gets away with it.
They give Dave Chappelle, but I think
it goes back to what I was saying. Like, I think in order for it to, that issue of the LGBTQ plus needs to get addressed, it got to be addressed from within, because, like I said before, like you got the lesbian, gays, and the bis, you separate them, the T's, the Q's, and the plus, and the queer, but the lesbian, gays, and the bi is not going to voice their concern against the other side because they benefit from it.
Absolutely.
You remember I brought that issue up? Like it's going to have to start with them if they want to get out from under that umbrella. Those that are lesbian, gays, and bi, and you don't agree with everything on the opposite side of that wall, you have to voice your opinion because you benefit from it, from the job market and everything else. Like you have to voice your opinion. If not, you're just going to keep kicking that can down the road. And then, now you're getting into these other areas to where, these women, the last thing you would want is a women's march against your own group. It's not going to go too well. If you have a women's march against the LGBTQ plus and its entirety about taking over their sports and their rights and the stuff that they fought for, because we see it now. We see some of these individuals that say, I'm on the queer side or whatever side. I identify as a 12-year-old boy. I want to go swim with the 12-year-old boy. Yeah, or I identify as a 12-year-old girl and I want to go shower in the classroom. We see this stuff happening.
We've passed what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where now, it is offensive for and I don't. It's called cis woman or cis man. That are born naturally, we have to have a prefix in front of it instead of I'm not a cis man, I'm a man. I was born a man. But anyway.
So they got new titles?
Yeah, we are cis men.
If you were talking, if you were sitting and talking to, to that community, they would ask you, how do you identify? And if you say I'm a man, they will say, okay, so you're a cis man.
Right. But my point is that where now naturally born women, it's offensive for them to be on like the cover of Tampax or Always. It's offensive. They've taken them off because men who identify as women are offended.
Everything representation.
That is insane to me.
That sounds insane.
And then, because they guess what they're not doing? They don't get a period. it's no way in hell they're going to get a period.
What really messed me up, I was watching the Senate hearing when they were questioning doctors, and these are like straight up, you saw that? And they asked them, like, what's a woman? I can't. I was like, hold the fuck up. You went to school canceled. And you went and got a degree and you're here in the United States Senate and you can't tell me.
They lose money.
Yeah.
As soon as it's going to get out.
Those are the doctors.
No, I'm saying that was a doctor that was refusing to.
Right. Yeah, it was 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. And you're a woman as well.
Biggest game. Biggest game.
And I believe that because then I was like, I can explain it easily. I was like, if you are a woman and you're saying that I'm going to transgender into being a male, then tell me what it feels like to get kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you what it's like to have a period or have a baby or none of that. No. So what are you identifying with? The way that I see identifying is like, if you can tell me that when you get kicked in the balls, it feels like the balls then ricochet and hit your heart and all that shit is about to explode. And if you can define that, then be like, oh, then you might know what it's like to be a man.
So going back to your point with the WNBA is going to have to settle with these people, go against what they promote, and then they are going to have to put something in writing that biological men cannot participate. And that's just because if not, money is just going to be shelved out all the time.
Then everybody's going to sign up for it.
The backlash they're going to get from their own players because a high percentage of WNBA players happen to be in that community. Well, so and like we said, they all get lumped together. So it's like a lot of them are going to feel that pressure. Like, hey, I have to represent or I have to stand up for my community because the T's haven't inserted themselves with the L's and the G's and the B's. So
sound like gangbanging on the south.
I'm gonna tell you this, and this is what I tell my children: you are going to have to pick a side.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guess what side they're gonna pick? They're going to pick the side where biological men cannot play in the WNBA because then they lose out. They're gone. The league is destroyed.
But I think there's going to be a substantial percentage who will choose to stand on their principles and choose to continue to stand with their community.
You might get a substantial.
Because then I would say substantial because it's pressure. No. And nobody wants to be labeled. Nobody wants to have that label because they'll be able to maintain their contract with the WNBA, but what they're not going to do is they're not going to be able to get Nike contracts. They're not going to be able to get them Reebok contracts. They're not going to get them Adidas or none of that shit because all of those companies, they have a bigger bottom line and they know they cannot afford to be sponsoring a person who chose to go against the LGBT community.
But I don't think it's substantial. I don't think it'd be substantial. I think that you'll get a few. But most of them, if they don't want to go against their community, which a lot of black people should just do anyway, they're just going to be quiet. That's the stance you have to take.
Silence is violence now.
Yeah, but
silence is violence. You never heard that before?
I've heard it, but
that's what they're saying now. Those same people who do that shit.
I get it.
Being quiet is just as bad as saying that I'm not.
That's true.
This rule start.
That's true.
It is. If you don't voice your opinion out against it, if you're a WNBA player or an athlete and they get up there and they ask you a question, do you think trans athletes to be in this sport or in that sport? Their publicist is going to always prep them. If you ever get asked this question, just say yes. Just say yes. But at the end,
don't answer.
Yeah, or don't answer. But then at the same time,
plead the fifth.
You got these people that sign these contracts. Whatever in their contract that says, you can't put nothing in no type of contract, to my understanding, that will go against free speech. You can't put out hateful speech or anything that's derogatory, but if the
loophole for that is they can put in things that go against our company's values. And at that point, they can say their company's values are whatever the hell they want to. And if you say something that's against whatever the hell that they want, they can terminate you.
But
So
then,
it ain't gotta be
but do
free
you think
speech.
they'll all win if they gotta pay out these people contract? Because my publicist said, don't never say anything, don't speak on this, don't speak on politics, don't speak on Trump, Obama, or whoever. Just say next question.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
I'm just here so I won't get fined. Just like he said. But then it's like, well, no, we all banding together. We all agree we should only have women in the sport. If Nike cancel all these contracts, Nike's not going to win the suit or the lawsuit or paying all those money against everyone?
No, because I think that they can, because like I said, in that loophole, they can have in their contract saying anything that goes against our company's values and moral standard or whatever the case is terms for termination of the contract. And if their company has made public statements that, hey, we are aligned with the LGBT plus community, you saying that trans women should not be allowed in the WNBA can be looked at as, hey, that's not inclusive. That's not aligned with our values as a company. That's grounds for termination of your contract.
But would they say, well, there's no women that actually compete in the NBA?
It doesn't matter, because once you make a stand against the community and inclusivity, that's where it is. I'm pretty sure they all got moral clause. Every company in the world has a moral clause.
Yeah, I agree.
I even feel like being a referee, I don't feel, I'm going to be unapologetic about this, that females should be officiating male sports.
Why is that?
Or even broadcasting, because they don't have the experience. They cannot, a female football official 9 times out of 10 can't go out there and do what those men have been doing. And they're taking jobs from men who probably can do it. Even female broadcasters. Oh my God. It rings my ears. Most of them, because they are giving analysis on things that they have zero experience and could not complete the job. They could not do the job.
And
So
like you said earlier,
to...
it was about this.
Yes.
Because they feel that with the when they were having issues with the numbers for the NFL, is that when they made that change, because they figure if we get a big enough female audience,
absolutely,
it'll make up for the money that we lost on the regular audience. And so it's like that's why they tucked them in.
And most of them, you see how they dress and how their bodies look, and why there have been plenty of lawsuits between male athletes and female reporters and stuff going on in locker rooms because of it. But yeah,
so. But by that logic, I slightly disagree. But by that logic, should Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless be reporting on sports? Because neither one of them played today in the NFL, the NBA, none of that.
Getting rid of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, should they be? So do you believe that
if
you
I
are officiating or reporting, you should have had personal experience participating in that sport?
I don't think that. I don't think that most women cannot compete in sports with men.
We at the FactYoFeelings do not support anything that Mr. T just
yeah, but I mean, personal opinion. Go ahead.
Yeah. And whereas you probably could go play in the WNBA, and be just based off, just looks alone and height, it would be easier for you to go play in the WNBA than for
hire me for your makeup artist.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean,
no, it's all of this is a lot, and I don't know. Like I said, I agree. Well, I don't necessarily think that women shouldn't be, a part of it, but I think it shouldn't be forced. And that's my only issue with a lot of things. It's like a lot of things that I take issue with as far as society goes. If it didn't feel forced, I probably wouldn't have an issue with it at all. If it's like and one thing that definitely stood out to me with that is when Lisa Leslie was on with Chuck and Shaq and Kenny and them. I believe that was what it was. But if you watch their show, they ribbing on each other all the time. They're being dudes in dude spaces. And then when Lisa Leslie got on, like, I might be incorrect on the show, but no, I am incorrect on the show. It was a different show. I don't know what the name of it was, but regardless, it's like they, naturally rib on each other. That's what dudes do. And somebody made a joke about her jacket because it was like pink, but it had like a floral pattern all over it. And somebody made a joke about it, and then she, came back with her joke, but her joke didn't really hit as hard. And then the person came back with another joke, and then you could just see in her face, it was just like,
womp womp.
Yeah.
She was just like upset and was like salty about it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yo, if you're gonna come into male spaces, you gotta be prepared to do things that males do. It's like you wanted to be here, so
high chance of
here.
trouble. High chance of trouble. High chance.
Yeah.
You gotta do your Richard Pryor homework on that.
Yeah, but somebody was like,
hey,
you
talk to me.
It's only men on this episode, or maybe whoever the female person that was normally there, maybe she was gone or something. I don't know the details on it, but they were like, oh, well, we can't just have a bunch of dudes. We gotta have a woman on here. So you might call Lisa Leslie or something.
Yep.
Tell that to the view. Tell that to the view. The view need to.
Candace Parker, she has been infiltrated into, the NBA TV and, the college game, the men's game in the NBA. And, a big part of that was because, she came out the closet. She left her black husband and her black kids and married a white woman. And now it's like, okay, well, come on here with Kenny, Shaq, Charles, and Chuck. And it's just like, okay, so that's what we're doing. But we talked about how being inclusive is in that community and how it has opened doors and civil rights and, money, which we talked about. I think that money has been kind of the basis of this conversation from the beginning, from politics, religion,
everything
to,
wrong,
it's just money, and that's just the American way. But, we can go to other countries who their theft rate, they just live a happier life in other places. But the Americans, we've allowed.
I don't know. Money just
so
corrupts. Money corrupts, and no matter what situation you in, it's always going to be competition or how you can get more money or at least show that you got more money. If you look at Dubai, and it's like everybody who actually lives over there is like, all them are rich. So it's like, what do they have to do to everybody got a Lamborghini? So how do you flaunt if you the Lamborghini? They are paying thousands upon thousands of dollars to have the lowest numerical license plate to stand out. If you got 1 million Maybachs and 1 million Rolls Royces and 1 million Lamborghinis driving down the street, how do you know who's the best one? Is you look at the person who's got the lowest numerical license plate.
Oh, wow.
Because there ain't no other way to flaunt.
So if you got the number one, just the number one on your license plate, you the shit.
You the shit.
Well, you are number one. So.
But if you had, 495 627, it's like, man, get your ass out of here.
Yeah, nigga, you in the fours.
It's like, I got the exact same car that you got. Yeah, but you couldn't afford that license plate, though.
I would never in my life. I don't give a damn how much money you have. I'm going to be me. And I love me. And if you want to flaunt your money, you go right ahead, go ahead, pay for it. Hey, we all out to dinner. Mr. G, you got all this money. Don't look at me to pay. Don't look at me to pay. You go ahead. You take care of it. I had a friend who was new money, and I'm not going to say her name, but she was new money, and it's just like, okay, you new money. You go. You pay for something. Me and you, we are even if we split the bill. You big money, you new money. Go ahead. Here you go. Take it off. I'm gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yep. I'm gonna pick out like, hey, I ain't had no motherfucking tater tot. Hey, that was you. That goes into the onion ring. I ain't paying for that shit.
There's just a topic I did want to bring up real quick. We got a little time left, but that's becoming a topic of conversation again. Going out with a bunch of people, somebody go ahead and decide to, buy that bottle of expensive champagne or expensive, whatever. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, the thing, the way to come and put the bill in the middle of the table, and everybody's expected to just split the bill evenly. What say you, gentlemen?
What? Am I splitting evenly?
Yeah.
If we in a group, I'm paying for what I ate.
The 5 of us go out to eat.
It's 4.
I'm sorry, 4. The 4 of us go out to eat.
You definitely, I ain't done. I'm definitely not paying.
Go out to eat, and we chopping it up, talking or whatever, and not even necessarily. Let's just say we go to some Fridays, or go to a Cheesecake Factory or something. Let's say we go to Cheesecake Factory.
That's still like $400 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the waiter comes and bring the bill, sit it down. Does anybody have an issue with just everybody putting their card in between the 4 of us?
If you order that if you ordered that $200 bottle or that $600 rib, you paying for that shit.
Yes, agreed.
100%.
I am not helping. I'm not splitting no damn check 4 ways.
What say you, sir?
So I got a couple of different things. I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, you good. That's why you're here to talk.
I have been at tables with friends. Mm-hmm. Who we've done that. We put our debit card in, and whichever one the waiter pulls out pays the bill. Now if you can afford it, if you got it, fine.
Oh no, I'll make this.
No, I know. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get
back up one second. You said it. Whatever the waiters.
So it's like
they just grab one.
So all 4 of us put our card in, and the waiter. We've done it where the first card is pulled pays the entire bill, or the last one left pays the entire bill. Fun with friends. Mm-hmm. I don't do birthday dinners. I don't do dinners. I'm going to decline because of you don't have to. You shouldn't feel pressured to pay for everybody's stuff or pay for more than what you put in. So me, I'm a chicken tenders and fries type guy, and a Pepsi. I can get a kid's meal. My meal's probably gonna be $25. People ordering drinks and all that stuff. Have I done it? Yes. I've said we just split it. But I'm kind of with you all. I don't want to have to pay for everybody. So now I just don't go. Don't invite me. You don't have to invite me to your birthday dinner because I'm probably not going to come. Thank you so much.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I was I'm not about to, and it's not out of any bad sense. Like, if I had it, I wouldn't do it. It's just like you said, when you start piling on drinks and extra onion rings and appetizers and shit, I don't even.
And people do that on purpose. They know that everybody, we just go split the bill. They order extra drink. They order to go to take home to their husband and stuff.
So put it in the
those don't sound like friends to me, by the way.
If we were all making over 6 figures in that same situation,
and we went to Popeyes, you got to make sure you.
No matter where we go, we all over 6 figures. The bill is comparable to the amount of money that we make. It's to a point where even if one of us was to just go ahead and take care of the bill, it wouldn't be.
That's probably happens in most times.
So would the sentiment still be the same if you were in that position where you could pay the bill and not even think twice about it?
Yeah, I've done that. I've been at dinner with my wife and another couple, and I just felt compelled to pay the bill. I'm not rich, wealthy, in long at all, but I just did it. So if I made X amount of dollars, I don't think the expectation should be for me to just pay your bill. But if you got it, what do we talk about? Love yourself, love your neighbor, take care of your people. It's not gonna put a dent in you, But the expectation, don't don't think that I'm going to, and I have family and friends who do this to this day, think that I'm just going to take care of the bill or I'm going to drive and take care of the bill. We got to compromise somewhere.
I wish I'd have got in on that early then, because
I'm like, that's my default is, first of all, I'm not really I don't spend too much time going to fancy places where the bill is going to be astronomical anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my default is to go ahead and split it evenly. But I feel like that's mostly because I spent like 8 years being a server, and I know how annoying it is to go back to the computer after putting all this shit under one tab and separate and remember who had what and this and that and this and that.
Yeah,
so my natural, inclination, if we all at a decent place, and I know we all then, got around the same amount, like ain't nobody ordered 6 drinks and only one person got chicken nuggets and french fries, and we all got comparable meals, then I'm like, you know what? Say the server some hassle and let's get up out of here. We just split it. But then, like you said, when somebody get the order in that third, fourth, fifth drink, or they get the, the tomahawk steak or something, and it's just like, at that point, it's like, all right. Then I'm like, hey, waiter, can you make sure that things are on
this nigga pay for the steak? This shit is done.
When we went out for your mom's birthday,
I was thinking that when you said you don't do birthday,
we were at S2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I had to think like, all right, how am I going to do this? I want to see my family. I don't see them too often. So what did I do? I ordered my chicken tenders and fries and my pop at the bar, paid at the bar, and came over and sat down with you all. Not knowing that S2 gets they do it already. They make you prepay for your food. So that's what I did. I ordered my stuff at the bar. Because I don't like that at the end that people don't factor in tax and they don't factor in tips. So I've had enough of that. I've had enough.
Absolutely.
And then you always get that one person that tried to pay the leave. Well, they got it. Here's my 20. Right. Throw it in a pile real quick.
Or I got exact change right here. I'm not giving no more. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna stay at home. We not have to worry about it disinviting you. I'm not gonna come. About that.
That was surprising, and I'm like, I was on the fence about how I felt about it, because I think my initial interpretation of it was from a geographical standpoint. It was like, hey, this restaurant is on the south side, and like south side. It's like if we was in Hyde Park, I don't think they would do that. If we was on the north side in Lincoln Park, I don't think they would.
No, they wouldn't do it. I mean, it's because of where we're at.
Yeah, but I'm like, but thinking about it now, I'm like, that could be also, a factor in why they chose to do it that way, just to eliminate that hassle and that issue. Just like, look, you know what? We don't want no issues when the bill come. Motherfuckers start looking around or trying to
or make up an excuse to
walk the hell up out of there.
Trying to figure out what's going on. No issues, arguments at the end of the night. So let's just have, when you order something, you tell me what you paying for, like what's all on your order. You pay, then I go put it in the kitchen.
It's like saying who all gonna be there.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Y'all ready to do it?
Yes, sir. We can wrap it up.
Yeah, y'all going.
Well, shout out the pod one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Unapologetic podcast, Sir Gilbert Live. Shout out my co-host, the actual factual Kimberly Smith. We'll be back for season 18. Next month. We usually take the summer off and get back to it. We talk current events, and we did a lot of relationship stuff. Black men hate black women and all type of stuff.
How do I get on that show? I think I want to switch podcasts.
Easy. We all can win. FactYoFeelings, Unapologetic podcast.
You got to be on camera.
No, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera.
I quit.
You don't have to be on camera. But yeah, Unapologetic podcast on all podcasts and social media platforms. Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to share your space. I really enjoy you all.
Thank you, sir, for being here, and thank you for helping our numbers now, because then they're gonna be like, no dude from that. He must be okay.
Yeah, I was at your party. I was at your party, and it was like, I remember you from the podcast. I don't know if you can talk about mine or Back Body Mystery. Shout out to Back Body Mystery. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
He was up in here. He was in the background. He'll be all right.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get him in here as well.
Well, cool, gentlemen. Thank you all very much.
All right. Catch y'all next time.
Out.